right, good evening, everybody. Is it 6:15? I'm sure I'm late, I'm so sorry.
6:17.
Okay, not too bad, okay. Today is Monday, February 10th, 2020. It is 6:17 p.m. This is a meeting of the Hanson Recreation Commission. We are meeting in the office of the main lodge at Camp Kiwanee. This meeting is being video recorded, and those in attendance are Diane Cohen,
Melissa Scartuzzi.
John Zuko. Ryan Smith.
Joan Trezzetti.
Brian Fazzetti.
and
Bill Boyle.
Dory Jameson.
in the audience, Selectman Matt Dyer. Okay, and missing from the commission tonight is Judy Howard. But I did get something from her saying she was gonna be here, so she may come in. Okay. Now, I was told by town hall that email has been down since Thursday,
Yeah.
so,
So maybe some point this week you guys will get the minutes and the agenda.
yeah.
Is there a meeting tonight? Because I didn't get anything.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if everybody, okay, so you guys signed these all. All right. Did anyone want to make a motion to accept minutes from 11:18, 12:02, 1:06, 1:27? I know we have to do them all separate.
Well, and those ones are
I
just,
want to correct you before you, it's only two meetings.
That we have?
Yeah, 1/6 and 1/27, those are the only two that we need to approve.
Okay, because the other one's right.
the other ones
will
have
come
now
next
been uploaded to the Hanson page, so now we'll be
Right,
able to.
so it doesn't matter. Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for the minutes from 1/6/2020 and 1/27/2020.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, quick and simple.
Hopefully that's
Department
good enough.
head.
The theme.
Department head update. Go ahead, Bill, facilities,
On the
surplus and
facility
stuff.
side, so everybody just got a quick little snippet. The facilities guys, the ceremonial benches have been finished, those downstairs. They started cleaning and fixing some of the function room windows. For the more so just kind of cleaning, I don't think anything needed crazy fixes.
There's nothing cracked this year, right?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Cabin specific locks and hasps are done. And just in general, they've been doing a little bit of brush removal, especially today. Highway had to come in and help because we had a big old tree fall in front of the.
Was it one of the
building.
ones that we were scheduled to cut down?
Yep.
Oh, good.
So
okay.
now we can pick, we
One.
can pick another tree.
Oh, good.
We can pick another tree. When one falls, we'll just put another one in its place.
Okay, well, you were there, so go for it.
Mhm.
Okay. I guess that counts. Since that is facilities, do we want to just take that piece from the tree warden meeting and just do it now?
Yeah.
In the facilities so we don't have to do it later?
Yeah, because I've been updated, but these guys haven't.
Okay, so tree wise, Brian and I walked around with Dave over the weekend out here at the main in front of the lodge, north end, south end, walking toward the cove. Marked a bunch more trees. They are slated to possibly start the work March 9th. That's the tentative date right now. It's not set in stone, but that's what they're shooting for. So, as we get closer to that, if it changes, I'll let everybody know if it's going
Could
to
be
stay
a
the same.
blizzard, you never know.
Yeah. So obviously, yeah, everything's weather dependent. Hopefully it's not a blizzard. Because essentially what's going to happen is from, say, 7, whenever they're starting in the morning till probably at least 4 o'clock, all traffic is going to be shut down, no in or out. So we will have to plan
What day of
accordingly.
the week is the 9th?
I think it's a Monday. They're going to look to do, I think, kind of Monday to Friday, if possible. They'll be out, any evening activities will still be able to happen.
Where does that put yoga?
Some of yoga will not happen
Okay.
for that week. Some of the evening stuff, I know Wednesday she should be fine. And honestly, I forget.
Oh,
But yeah,
that's
I think there's Wednesday and Monday she should be open.
Okay.
Monday she might start a little later, but, yeah, it won't interfere with any weekend stuff.
Do we have any events?
For when for that weekend that
That
he's
whole
looking,
week?
no.
Right,
I mean,
okay.
the only thing would be possibly that Friday, if the folks from the dance lessons get back to me with the information, we get the contract set up. But
Okay.
we can get to that because that's under the dance lessons.
Okay.
But,
Yep.
yeah, that would be probably the only thing that, again, with I think the timeline that he was looking to start, it wouldn't be starting until the evening, so these guys would be gone, dance
Okay.
lessons would start.
Thanks so much.
So yeah, we're looking right now, hopefully at the 9th. And it's just gonna depend, especially with the crane and everything set up, how many trees they can get down in a whack before having to move the crane.
Yeah, before they,
I think what he said they may do is come all the way down to the cove and start there, because at least that's a good jumping off point for the equipment. And if they need to store it, well, as they have to store it probably each night, that's a good spot for it to be. It's out of the
Okay.
way.
right.
It's not gonna be on top of any septic systems or anything like that. Cause he was also saying that especially as we get over here and everything, crane placement is gonna be crucial because there's only certain places that
It can go, and as long as they are aware where the tight tank is at the cove.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're not gonna be on the beach. So I don't think
Oh,
that,
so they're gonna
because
look at
it's
the
a tight
parking
tank,
lot.
everything's contained within that,
Yeah,
right?
they're not gonna be in that region.
They're gonna be in the parking lot.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, so they should be able to pluck everything from the parking lot right
Great.
up the.
sounds good.
Surplus salvage, so that's gonna be going in front of the selectmen, the meeting of the 25th.
So the
So
stove.
what items?
No, it'll
Stove
be
approved already.
for the remaining stuff in this
Oh,
shack
yeah.
over here.
Okay.
So obviously that stuff's already been declared, the kayak stuff. I spoke with Spiegel.
Oh, good.
They referred me to one of their scrappers because they said for them to come out and we're just gonna explore, because one of the scrappers may be able to come out and pick everything up for free.
Oh, nice.
In that event, not a bad deal. He said if they come out to do it, it's $150, which still isn't bad, they'll take it. But at that point, we'd have to have at least 2 tons of stuff to break even, because we get $90 a ton on the scrap. So it's either we pay up front and then possibly have enough scrap that it would kind of wash, or we have somebody come, take the stuff out for free, and then they would just scrap it, and then we don't have to do everything.
We're not gonna have 2 tons or 1 ton.
No, we're
It's
not
gonna
gonna
be
have
a
to.
stretch.
Too many scrap bale come in there and take this scrap.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to hear back from, the gentleman's name is Frank, so.
Okay.
So I'm gonna at least try to see if he'll come down and look at it and say, yeah, I'll come take it.
Someday, wouldn't it be great if we had our own truck that could just go and deliver
We
it?
keep getting them, but they keep.
Dying.
Not working.
It'd be great, because then we could actually get money ourselves for the scrap. Now, right now, we're paying people
Yeah.
to operate, or,
Yeah, the other option they had, which I knew we weren't gonna even be close to, they said they have like a pod thing that they could drop off that we would fill up and then they come pick it up, but that is a 4-ton minimum. And I said, I'm pretty sure we have nowhere near 4 tons. I said, unless you can take a big hunk of concrete, I said, then we'd be close. But he's like, yeah, I don't want the concrete.
Would they take trees?
Good try.
Yeah.
They take what?
Trees?
Trees.
Yeah.
Cabins.
Stoves.
Well, stove, fantastic.
Yeah.
Does
Oh,
that
and actually,
include?
and I have to look because I think I just found something in here that both the stove, back in 2018, that stove and the mixer have already been declared.
Right,
Okay.
Yeah.
they were.
Probably won't be able to get the stove out in time, but we might at least be able to get the mixer out.
Well, does anybody remember there was a wedding here and the caterer was completely enthralled with the mixer?
Yeah.
And it does still work apparently.
Wow.
And they, were very interested in it. We could even opt to sell it or to give it to someone that would use it, but then there were members here, I remember, that said maybe we shouldn't get rid of it,
I
so.
believe that's hardwired, isn't it? For some crazy reason, also they hardwired it.
I think there's a box behind it,
So
so
it
we
is
might just have to
hardwired.
have,
I'm not too sure.
we could have Dave come and disconnect it.
Do we wanna get rid of it? I mean, it's something,
We never use it. It was just that kid, or it was the only one that used it, they did their potatoes or something in it, they made
Yeah.
mashed
Do we know
potatoes.
which caterer it was? Is it local?
I think most of the caterers that work here are pretty local, that come here are local, but, yeah, I
Let's
don't
put a
know.
broadcast email out to all of them and see who bites. There's no safeties on it, I mean, it's antiquated. So
It is antiquated, it wouldn't meet any code right now, so that's why I'm not sure if anybody really would take it, especially where it is hardwired.
Is it collectible? I mean, I don't know. Looks
I,
I think for
Looks
hoarders,
nice.
maybe, I don't know.
for what?
For hoarders,
Yeah, I know, so, but either way, I don't know, we should make a decision before the people come in.
Well, I mean, at least we know it's already been declared, so if it's just,
But I mean, getting someone to come in and
Yeah.
take it and,
Just have the electrician come and disconnect it.
I mean, the big mix is a new one, if you're buying a new one, you're looking at like 18, 19
Yeah, they're big
thousand.
money.
1,000 or 100?
1,000, yeah.
No,
Maybe it isn't, maybe it has value.
18 or 1900.
No, look at this. That's a big
Oh,
one,
yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, that's a floor model like
Yeah,
this.
And that's like that one.
yeah. There's
so
another
maybe it's
one,
worth a couple
19,000.
grand.
I mean, I don't know. Is it something we want to explore a little bit?
I thought it was a couple $100, about $18,000, I think you might. I mean, honestly, 10% of that
Oh,
is
yeah, a lot more than
$1,800.
Well, that's
I
a new,
agree.
brand new, state-of-the-art one, yeah.
I mean, that one's not state of the art.
Oh my
It's
God.
Yeah, it's like
State of
the
antique.
Do we wanna tie the salvage in to the stove and all the bed frames as one big metal pickup? Or is that?
Well, that's what I would like to do. I'd like to,
Because we certainly could wait if we just do it all at once, maybe we get money.
I mean, right, that's what I was hoping, is if we did it all at once, we have a better shot at getting some return on it. And we can't get rid of the stove until we're ready to put in the new one.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to veer off topic just slightly, but it does fall under the facilities. Do we know where we're standing with the grant to purchase?
Yes.
Okay, so,
That is,
I don't,
I didn't put it, so we can just talk about it. 'Cause I
it's
thought I
under
put-
facilities, it's
Yeah.
directly related.
So I am putting together code information to give to John and Mary that we have to send to the State House, because now they're saying they want to have the 25 accounted for before they'll release it. So that is something that wasn't explained to us in the beginning, it was
Right.
just, hey, we got you this grant, and we thought, okay, we just reach out and they send it to us. I got all that to John today. So
Okay.
with the initial
Using
quote,
the information that Chris sent?
some of the information, and then I reached out to a hood company to get a quote on that. Because
Okay.
with what Chris gave us on the stove part, plus, his quote of, no more than up to $10,000, between that, roughly the $3,800 for the stove, and then just under $12,000 for the hood and Ansel system. It gets us
Including
right.
labor?
No, what she sent me, I think, was just all the parts. So
Parts.
then labor is certainly gonna put us over that.
Right. So I think that's why we nixed the hood.
Well, they just want information to send to them so that everything at least totals up to 25,000, so we can say, here's a rough ballpark of where it's going.
It doesn't have, do we have to submit receipts after?
Probably.
To my knowledge, most likely, but even if things change, like even if we end up saying, okay, we didn't go with the hood, we decided to do the electrical instead, and the electrical ends up being, so I mean, I'm gonna try to get a quote from Dan to say, okay, what would that electrical cost, and we can submit everything,
Okay.
which is probably gonna be to the tune of anywhere from
You're also
probably
gonna get the gas.
40 to 50. But the biggest thing is just getting them, quotes and kind of, here's a rough budget of what everything's gonna cost, so they can say, okay, yeah, that's definitely $25,000 worth of stuff.
Okay, I just wanna know what we have to submit afterwards, because I don't want them coming back and saying, no, this doesn't match up, and then rescinding the grant. So, we need to reach out to Chris, because he was,
I'm waiting to hear back from him, he hasn't, I'll reach out to him again.
okay,
Um,
I'll try to reach out to him too.
Because if we get that stove, do we have to have that Hanson system in, because that's code?
We have to have the gas, that's what you're talking about?
No, just the fire suppression system, not the gas valve.
that was something I believe Bob said we could work into, because it's part of the
Eventually,
hood,
it's
yeah.
fine.
Right, because he's,
Because right now, with what we have, we don't have a suppression system anyway.
right, and you said that he was going to, because it is our intent to make it up to code.
Yeah,
So-
and it's, and I mean, I'm gonna obviously with that quote, I'll send it to Chris to have him look at it with the hood stuff to say, hey, is this, on point, is this pretty close? Because if we're able to kind of stretch it and get the hood and the suppression system, if we can tackle it all and just get it out of the way, it would be nice. Is it gonna happen like that? Probably not.
What's the
Can't pull on it,
electrical
so-
piece?
I'm
The
sorry?
electric is just making sure that everything in that kitchen, anything that needs to be wired is actually wired correctly and that we have the proper wiring in there. I mean-
Not doing electrical and strictly gas and Hanson system, maybe we can forego the electrical for now to get the Hanson system in with the stove and stay in that budget.
Within the budget,
And
right.
then do the electrical.
Yeah, because I believe, especially where that kitchen is somewhat updated, at least from, the 1900s, I believe at least there's no knob and tube in there.
Right, we know that there's no knob and
So
tube
we
there,
have-
it's everywhere else.
If we were to add griddles, that would probably increase
Put it
the
over,
load.
right,
and
that
we
makes
would-
me nervous.
Yeah, at that point, we would talk about electrical. But
Well-
when are we at, the griddles are not electric. Does the stove have electric griddles on it?
No, I believe everything's
No,
gas.
everything's gas.
Yeah, so it'll be
That's
like that,
phase
just a little
Right.
smaller.
two, but
Right. The electrical in this place has to be,
Mhm.
it's gonna have, the whole thing needs to be done. It's another subject and it has to be taken in pieces that are manageable.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you're gonna check on the requirements for the grant. I'm gonna reach out to Chris, you're gonna keep bugging him, and we'll see about a date to get this done. It would be great if we could get this done before the season is up and running with this kitchen. Okay, sorry.
No worries.
Continue.
Donation, the letter's going, or it's right there in front.
Yes.
Yeah, if everybody wants to just throw your John Hancock on there, we'll send that over to Heather and the Walker.
Do you want me to read it, or did
Oh,
everybody read
please,
it?
I read
it.
Okay, everybody read it?
Everybody read it, yeah?
Okay, it's to Heather Kelly from Walker Clay. Dear Heather, on behalf of the Recreation Commission, we would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank you for your gift of 200 tote bags that were provided to the attendees of the recent wedding exposition held on January 12, 2020. The event was very well attended and we are excited for future wedding bookings that may come from it. Thank you again and we look forward to working with you in the future sincerely. Okay? Yep.
I just found that this might be kind of a reverse, but if we make take a vote to accept those.
We did.
And then we should go to the board of selectmen, I don't remember
The
that.
Board of Selectmen have the
Voted on.
letter and it's gonna go on the meeting of the 25th
Right.
to accept.
I just want to make sure. 'cause
So I'm gonna assume they're gonna accept it and I'm gonna sign this, okay?
Because we gave it away, wait a minute. Gave the bags away.
Yeah, all right.
We can't take them back.
Right. We change our mind. Okay, so that's good. We're within the guidelines of Emily Post, we're within the month and we get it out there. Okay, I'm probably dating myself. You people even know who Emily Post is.
I know.
All right.
I
Okay.
grew up with it.
Okay. All right, new business? Or did you have?
Good, yeah.
Okay. Job postings, this is for everything with the code, so why don't you tell them what you told me today earlier? about,
Okay, so I spoke to Greer, everything's in and just, it's approved. The initial one that I submitted, was asked to be changed to include the full range that are in the, the bylaws. So that was updated. Now I'm waiting, Greer's gonna talk with Todd tomorrow, because it usually gets posted through the selectmen, and they usually pay anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks for that to be posted. So I'd asked, Greer asked how long I wanted to be posted, I said, can we do it for 4 weeks? She said, well, I have to check to see, what they usually pay for.
Okay, so they usually do 1 to 2?
1 to 2, and
You
then I
asked
said,
for 4, let's settle on 3 if we can get.
well, what I said is that if need be, because we do have the advertising line, after we pay, wedding wire, whatever, there's still usually, I think, a couple $100 in there. So we should be able to, if, say they pay for 2 weeks, we should be able to pay for the 2 weeks.
Okay,
But Greer and Todd, we're gonna talk about that tomorrow. And in all likelihood, it'll probably go in for next week.
okay. And was there something in it that we said about, getting your license?
Classes,
Yes.
yeah, so the lifeguarding WSI classes are being held at the South Shore YMCA.
Okay, nobody else is having them? Kingsbury Club,
I just typed it in and the first thing came, the American Red Cross program in South Shore YMCA came up and it was within the range that we were posting it, so I just put that in there. I can look at Kingsbury Club, but when I was looking, that was the one with the biggest hits, the one that came up was Red Cross.
right, okay,
Is that the one that, in Hanover?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, we wanna get a heads up on that, and then if we decide we need a WSI class here, I need to set that up.
Yeah.
Okay,
And you said, with the gentleman Chuck, so he needed how many people? Was it 5 or more?
yeah,
Okay.
to make it worthwhile. Okay. Anything else with job postings?
No, that was it. I tried to post it where it was, I went through the payroll of what we were paying them last year, and that was what I initially put in the thing, and that's where,
Is it on our site?
not yet, because we haven't put it out there, so I was gonna wait until they put it in Whitman Hanson and then,
Put it on our site?
Yeah.
and- Okay.
yeah, because they only send it to, I believe, the Whitman Hanson Express.
Do we have to wait for them to send it there before we put it on our site?
I will ask tomorrow.
Okay. I mean, if
If
they
they
approve
don't-
it,
I just don't know if it has to get submitted by them first before we start putting it.
submit it to the
So,
Board of Selectmen?
Yeah,
so we,
I would wait for the Board of Selectmen to.
To approve it, right. But,
Once it's been approved, I don't know.
okay. Right, okay.
But yeah, we'll be able to put it on the Facebook page, on the website, we'll be able to put it on Indeed, on Glassdoor, Monster.
Okay, we need to really get it out there. Okay. April vacation?
April vacation, so I'm looking at, we may have a magician to do a show for one of the days over April vacation, and it looks like we may be having like a little martial arts boot camp.
Cool.
So I have to work out the kind of finite details with them and whether or not we're able to do it through us or just have it through them and set up the vendor contract that way. So that's gonna be a question for Todd. And then, yeah, we're gonna look to run, I don't know if we're gonna cap it at certain ages, but they're gonna bring in the equipment, set it up here in the lodge, and we'll do something, you know, probably that Monday through Friday.
For the,
whether it's
for the martial arts?
yeah, so whether it's, you know, like noon to 1 or 1 to 2, but we'll have some sort of consistent schedule where the kids can come, you know, for an hour or two each day.
What are we looking at for a time frame on this? Like, when will we know for sure so that you can put it into the schools?
I'm hoping Todd's in tomorrow, so I can talk to him about kind of the monetary aspect of setting it up. I would certainly like to have answers on if it's gonna go through either us or the martial arts student.
Like how
You
many
know, by,
registers, I mean?
yeah,
Oh.
Do you mind my asking what school it is?
Thurston. So they've got a Hanover location and a Kingston location. So this will kind of be, you know, and it works for them, it works as a feeder program for them because
Right.
especially being so close in Hanover, the kids want the full experience. You know,
They
now
go
they'll go over there and start training, but at least, you know, they'll get to do some punching and kicking drills and, you know, probably at least learn a basic form.
Great,
So that should be fun.
okay. Keep us posted. Who's
So
the
yeah,
magician?
What's that?
Who's the magician?
Tommy James.
There was a second Tom James on the show.
So yeah, if you wanna
Money, right?
pass around, I watch, he's got a website and I watch, you know, he's got a clip of some of his stuff.
How long is his show?
I think he can tailor depending on audience, what we're looking to pay, but I believe it's around like 45 minutes to an hour.
And are we charging for this, or are we giving this away?
It's gonna, he hasn't told me how much he costs, so we could go either way. I mean, we could probably charge like $5 or $10 to at least
Cover his
recoup
cost.
something.
I'd like to cover his cost. Okay. All right.
So that's
Nice.
that. Vacation. Yeah, the dance lessons. So I'm waiting to hear back. It's actually a gentleman. He's an acquaintance of John, and I think he said they may have, were their dance lessons done here within the past?
They did
2
in the
years?
past, yeah.
Um,
I don't know when they did, a couple of years ago, a few years
yeah,
ago.
he said they done it in the past, they had a
Before we
decent-
came on the rec commission, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm waiting to hear back. I sent him, some of the language on the certificate of liability, what
Yeah.
it says in the contract, so just so he was aware of that. And just requested some information so I can set up the contract, so I'm waiting to hear back from him. But they were looking to do, at least start the first 2 Fridays of March. See how they do with that, and then possibly book out some other dates. But at least then, we'd be looking at the traditional kind of vendor contract setup, the 8/20.
So as soon as we have a definitive yes, no date, whether it's a vendor or whatever, we have to start advertising that.
Yeah. And they did request, they want the bar open, so they would just have to pay the permit fee.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
Town meeting articles.
do we wanna try to pull something off the capital matrix and submit it? Do we
I
wanna,
kind of feel like what's the point, given the financial situation of the town right now?
well, and I'm figuring too, especially where we made out pretty well.
On the
last
last
year.
town
did,
meeting,
yeah.
I kind
Do
of
we-
don't want to push it.
blessings.
I don't know, what, can I?
These are what you're looking at, these type of municipalities, not like the ones that you already worked on, they're altogether different. There are articles and that you have to submit, like the program receipts, what you're planning on. I've got them for 17, 16, 17, but this is what you're looking for.
Okay,
There's a whole bunch of different articles. They don't send those forms out, we have to make them out. How does it usually go?
Wait, for putting an article in?
Right,
No, they're all articles, they're already, they're articles that have to be put in every time for renewal for the receipts for the money.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to,
So I believe what we've done in the past was the director would work with the town administrator to get everything set up. And then if you want any special articles or placeholders, you would email, I would have the director email the town administrator and just say, these are the placeholders that we would like for this reason. And then you can kind of hash it out before March 19th.
well, these aren't placeholders, these are approval of specific things that you have to do for the town, for monies, to appropriate monies, like this one here is article.
it's like housekeeping
It's
stuff.
section 11A, yeah.
Right, it's
The professional
housekeeping,
services, the breakdown.
Yeah.
right, so we have to fill, do you
I'll
know,
ask Todd about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's here.
and Dora, you may know. There.
As far as, the warrant articles, yeah.
Yeah.
I know you can do placeholders and then you can refine the language as the time gets closer.
Right, but these are more like,
These
So
are,
these are just,
in every year.
right,
These must be in,
these are the
yeah.
ones that
They
must be in.
probably have them held as placeholders
Yeah,
already.
they probably
Yeah,
have
I've
some,
already
they
done
probably
that.
have some
Probably
sort of
already do.
form and-
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it the 19th the warrant closes?
I believe so,
Okay.
March 19th.
Okay, we'll check on that.
Yeah, I thought it was, are they asking though for it by the 6th? Are they trying to
March
give them?
6th is
Yeah.
what.
March 6th,
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, I think you get a little bit of leeway there.
Right,
I think
Okay.
one thing we need to do every year, and like Dave Hamlin had said to Bill and I, is we need to have a tree budget every year just to keep pace. Even if it's 25,000, we just need that article every year.
okay. And I agree with that, but I don't want to, I want to be specific in that it's not a cutting down trees. We're going to cut down $25,000 worth of trees every year.
It's
Can
not
we-
as much as you think. I mean, there's a lot of dead trees and they're potential hazards.
And
We just hit the tip of the iceberg here. I mean, we don't have to take down every tree here, but just based on what we saw, it's gonna be a constant.
can we have tree maintenance then, so that at some point
Is
it
there a
goes
way-
toward planting?
Is there a way that we could do it so we had the option of either, if we literally made it tree maintenance?
Yeah.
You said the,
Or a hybrid, you know,
Yeah.
tree maintenance,
We're gonna
tree
take down
planting,
some,
yeah.
trees, period, because when we're looking through the cabin
All things
areas,
trees?
you know, yeah.
You know, I
We're
don't know.
looking at trees that, they might not be this year, but in a couple of years, they're diseased.
Yeah, I know.
and like,
We need it.
What do you
without
think about that?
front, we take down a few and then there's gonna be a couple that within another year or two are gonna need to come down because now their buddies are gone. And,
Right, and
yeah.
things are leaning different ways, and things will straighten out, and things will grow that weren't growing before, and, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, everything's contingent upon everything else.
Yeah. And David mentioned too, because of the wind, he said when all the bigger trees were removed behind the lodge here, he said you had a bunch over here that ended up falling because you had this big
Direct wind.
windshield
Cover.
covering them, and these guys weren't used to getting hit with the wind. So then you remove these trees, and now the wind's moving differently and knocking down a bunch of trees that have never experienced the wind gusts like that before. So either way, whatever we change, it's then gonna change something else, and we're gonna have to address that, and it's, as Dorian had been saying, every day's an adventure.
Tree education.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd prefer not to have it just say we're cutting down trees, because I really do want to.
You can say tree maintenance,
Tree
Tree
maintenance,
maintenance,
I like
right.
that, that's a good word.
Yeah.
Tree maintenance.
maintaining
We,
tree.
I don't believe that was our warrant at the last town meeting.
It would, right, it came from,
I would ask the tree warden if he would put that through again.
some of us,
Well, he puts
some
in
of it
every
was
year.
ours.
I know that, but no, we
He
didn't.
put one and we
We
put
put
the
one.
other.
We put
Yeah.
one,
This past town meeting.
no, the past
It-
town meeting was his.
It,
The one prior to that was ours.
it ended up going in under the tree ward.
Correct,
Okay.
and I'm asking if maybe the tree warden, whereas he's saying this needs to be done, can he once again have him do it rather than it coming from
Us,
us?
directly.
We can
Correct.
talk to him, yeah.
Yeah.
So can we,
I can talk to him, I know that it could potentially cause an issue, because again, he puts in every year,
right,
and there may be other trouble spots that,
need to be addressed,
yeah.
absolutely.
But maybe we could just talk with him saying, listen, this is probably what we need in tree removal, and just have him kick up his request, and then see what gets funded.
But what he would know it's town-wide, we're a municipality, we're part of the municipality, so I know we are, but we aren't, but like I said, the last vote went in through him,
Right,
you kinda open the door when you do that. With the shot.
right. Okay, so let's talk to him about that then, talk to him about putting it under,
Another thing too, quickly, talking about trees.
yep,
I know, and I mean, and this would have to kind of be looked at, is I know that there are companies out there that are looking for places to come where they bring in new learners to cut down trees, or people that need to get certification to cut down trees. It's like sponsored by Steel, the chainsaw, or Husqvarna, or whomever, that need to get chainsaw certified.
yep,
And they'll come in, they'll cut down the trees. They won't remove the
them.
trees, but at least they're on the ground where, you know, if you have caretakers here, they can cut it up, split it, whatever, if we can get a chipper, chip the wood. But that's an opportunity that's free. They come in here, they'll do all the insurance stuff, saying that they're fully insured, and whatever happens, it's on them. And sometimes too, they'll even open up a spot for someone here on Camp Kiwanee staff or the
Become
town of Hanson
certified.
to get certified. So that might be an avenue to look at, you know, I mean, that's not gonna cost the town of Hanson.
how do we
much.
find out who those companies are?
I can get that information for you.
Could I just ask too, Matt, I think, what was it, the fire department has, somebody that actually goes to some of the sites and they mill the trees instead of removing them. But I don't know if that would bring us to a liability situation, right? Because if they, because are we leaving the trees there, or are we paying for them to be removed? What is that?
We're paying for them
To be removed. So Matt, are there companies that will come in and do it for free, but they mill the trees? Is that?
There are, but I think
that?
you've barely gotta make it worth their while.
Right, if it's
If it's-
desired timber. You know, I mean,
Right.
they don't want knotty wood, they don't want bent wood, or,
Okay.
well,
And they
some
don't want
people do want
disease.
pine,
I thought
But
that's what I.
they don't, but it has to be a pristine piece of wood.
And it has to be grown perfectly straight and, you know,
Not disease, bro.
right.
Right.
Oh, no, it's disease,
Yeah,
yeah.
So-
I don't want our trees.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, so you're gonna grab us a list then?
Yeah,
And get
and
it
then
to
you can just
Billy?
reach out to them and see what happens, but overall, what my comment is on trees in the town of Hanson, we don't have a forest management plan. It's something that's really overdue, you know, going
In a
into
town like this, it is.
the
overdue.
town forest, you know, we talked about it at the municipal vulnerability planning, where, you know, not maintained timber or our forests become a real tinder block for forest fires. And as we see the summers getting hotter and drier, it's gonna become a bigger issue. And quickly going off of forest management, there's a huge pile of brush down in the field. I don't know if you guys have been down at the ball
I
field.
saw that,
Huge, that's a huge liability right now. All it's gonna take is a match to go in there. So, an opportunity right now with the burning season open is to see if the fire department would come down here and maybe even do a bonfire as a recreational program. You know, but we do, I would recommend getting rid of that,
Okay,
so.
is that something we wanna talk to the fire department about?
I'll go talk to Terry.
Okay, bonfire with burning brush. In regards to that field, and I know this is bouncing back to facilities slightly, whatever happened with the insurance for the damage that was done to the field by whoever went out there and used it as a playground?
Actually, you know, Blair sent an email today, I don't think she copied you on it.
Okay, yeah.
But just today, she finally got back and said that it would be prohibitive because of the deductible our deductible.
How much is the deductible?
2,500. So if they felt that maybe more
Might be
prudent to
an idea.
just reseed and kind of handle it ourselves.
Maybe before that, we have a big bonfire,
And then get
have a
the,
nice little base coat, and then we'll proceed.
and then, yeah, what I would recommend is getting the backhoe down here from the water department and just grade it out real quick, so it's nice and flat.
Yeah,
Because that's a big opportunity down there to plant some nice roadies or whatever you want for some more photos, for senior pictures.
You're talking about
That's a good
down,
idea.
you're
Going
talking
towards
about there.
middies, fields, kickball field, or,
right, but we need that for recreation, I think.
well, what I'm saying is put it on the perimeter.
Okay.
Yeah. Just another picturesque opportunity.
Okay, so we're gonna talk to the fire department, and who has the backhoe?
Water
Water
department.
department.
Water department.
yeah. And they're actually, I believe, gonna be the ones helping us at the co-op when those trees come out. They're bringing in the backhoe to rip out those roots.
Well, maybe they could do.
So we're gonna see if they can do more, when we do more up here, if we can get their assistance.
Okay, anything else after town meeting articles? Anything else with that?
We did talk about the trees in the front, and we identified that we should take them all and not leave
Front.
two.
Out here?
Yeah.
Right here in the, well, what would be the green, but it's more of just the.
Brown.
Yeah,
But if we were to think
Here's-
long-term, maybe take all the trees, remove the stumps next year, and then regrade it and
Replant.
replant, maybe a gazebo. I know it's like a 3-year plan, but we've already got the tree people
It's like
here.
a 6-year plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if we have the tree people here, what's 2 more trees when they're all set up?
Right, it's pulling out the stumps.
Yeah,
That's-
which we understand that we're probably not gonna be able to do this year.
No,
But
no.
maybe we can talk about it next year.
and maybe that's what our tree maintenance is maybe next year,
Right.
we're not cutting down trees, but now it's stump removal.
Right, okay. I
And
think
maybe, and that's a way of, hey, we're not cutting down trees, they're gone, now we just have to pull up the stumps.
And we're
make it look pretty
removing the
good.
stumps for the beautification of the area, if you wanna keep it.
And then we're gonna give them to, conservation, because they're doing some sort of either regrowth project or something, they're dumping them in one of the
Bogs.
is it Smitty's
They're
bogs or a
dumping
different?
Smitty's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Smitty's.
Uh,
Yeah, actually, that's a great idea. If you can get that chainsaw company in here to do the certs and then haul that wood down to Smitty's bogs, it's right there.
And what, it's more for, it creates dens and stuff for the animals so that they can
Habitat.
reforest.
Right.
Yeah, because they're gonna create a white cedar swamp out in the old cranberries bogs. So they need restoration wood and stuff like that.
I mean, it
Can
would
you
look
just pull the
nice.
crap from there and just
Level and grass is growing.
pull it over and dump it in the bog?
We got
Well,
enough trees around us.
You know,
Responsibly?
so It's really gonna
Yeah?
change that.
Yeah, that actually might, Billy, that's not a bad idea.
probably more responsible, we're helping the environment, we're helping all the cute little critters, and we're getting them over in the bog and away from us.
No, talk to Phil Clements about that, because
Okay.
that might be able to save us some more money, that you don't have to, cut up the limbs or whatever, chip those, but take the bigger logs and throw them in the bogs. That might save you a couple bucks. Not a bad idea, Billy.
Sometimes.
Every now
Work.
and then.
Now that you're more in tune with Camp Kiwanee.
Get in touch with nature. What you guys are talking about?
I can't remember what I was gonna say now. I'll just have to go back to it. Okay, the warrants, they're here?
The orange
They're
one.
here.
Yeah, we've looked at them over here. Did you look at them already? Julie, yes, you've seen them.
Yeah,
Indirect cost is, if that's the big one, that's
Yeah,
for the
that's a nice
insurances and
one, that's
stuff.
the $7,000.
Yeah, that's one we don't have an option on that.
Do we get a credit for Republic?
We did.
we already got it?
How much was the credit?
$829.
Mark on that, was it?
Woo!
Good team effort.
All right.
And
Yeah.
finally, we got the call because Matt met the municipal director. And the next day, wouldn't you know it, Republic was on the phone with us.
Yeah,
That
they're,
is the letter.
when officially is their contract up?
It is up,
I think it's in June, isn't it?
no, it's July 14th, it was signed July 14th, 2017, it was a 3-year contract. So, it is done then, but what we have to do is, so blah blah, it shall automatically renew for successive 36-month terms unless either party gives written notice of termination to the other at least 60 days before the end of the
Give
current
them
term.
written termination now.
Yeah.
60 days right now.
Yep,
Yes.
And that's we're still.
Yeah.
Yep, it has to be sent certified mail, return receipt requested, and then it says actually has to be received by the company. So we just have to follow the protocol to make sure it does get to them in written form. And
do it up.
so
Do we have somebody else in place?
we're gonna have to bid out to somebody like the ABCs and the Doolies and those guys.
Don't do VPCs.
No,
Don't know. no,
I have
let's
them
see.
That's
for
what,
in Plymouth, just for my house, and they work. But
we're dealing with them up at the transfer station right now.
okay,
Julie or no?
But I don't wanna sway opinion before the bids come in, but.
yeah. But no, it's good to know, because I also heard somebody else was talking about for a different department looking at Republic, and I almost pulled my hair out, and no.
So is
do
it
it.
going to be a situation where like we get the bids before the contract terminates in June, because it's your busy
Oh, yeah.
season, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're gonna send them the written stuff saying, as of that date, we're done, please be on site on this date to pick up your things.
So it's
And we'll-
July what?
July 14th.
Yeah, I've been through this, they'll keep those here as long as possible because they want the money until we get the new dumpsters in place. One company pulls them, the other one's right in there, so that is,
Well,
And is it one of those things like, say we went to Noonan or whatever,
yeah.
they won't pull their thing out, right? They won't touch it?
They will not touch another company's dumpster.
Okay,
So they won't bring theirs in until
Until
that
that-
is gone.
okay, so we're gonna have to
That's.
probably get this in the works sooner than later, just.
Yes, and because we need a dumpster down at the Cove when it opens in June. So it needs to be a smooth transition.
That's,
Yeah.
So we'll be able to switch them over till July 14th.
And up here too, because that's the busy season. So we
It's
want,
not to be after July.
Yeah,
right, but
so we gotta hope for
it needs to be
a,
a smooth transition, is all I'm saying.
we will try to make it as smooth as possible. Obviously, on Republic side, they have been a great help on that.
No, they haven't.
But now that we have, again, the higher ups contact info and everything, that should hopefully make things smoother.
Okay,
Uh,
the warrants, are we spending more money on maintenance supplies? Because this is an issue for us.
You got two things that negatives, got money coming back.
Well, the only, I think, the only negative, there was the credit, but I don't know if, and if there's a certain line item, like some things do get overspent, but as long as it's under the operating budget, it can get pulled from another.
Yeah, I'm not even more worried about that. What I'm more concerned with is just cutting the costs all around. Like, what are all these, this is the one we can't just to, what are maintenance supplies? I want it to be really specific and, Matt, was it you and I were talking about that, or
Sorry, regarding,
the warrants with the maintenance supplies and going through the budget and such?
yeah, we can go through it if you like.
Yeah,
I mean, I would first check in with the caretakers and just see, what's being used, what's not being used, and talk to them before just making decisions of cutting
right, yeah.
supplies.
Maybe we could ask them for a more detailed list of what's
Well, I mean, when
being-
it comes in, like, I'm the one, when it goes in as, like, maintenance supplies, that's what I'm putting in, because it could be, again, like, screws and different things like that, it could be bleach for the, the floors, or like the distilled vinegar.
That should really be cleaning supplies, though. That-
Well, so, and again, so I might have misspoke on that, yeah, but there's cleaning supplies, there's maintenance, so it.
So we're lumping it together, yeah, that's all I kinda wanna know.
Well,
So
that had been
Sorry,
separated last year, though, when Josh was here, I'm sorry. But when Josh was here, he's the one that wanted to have the two separate lines for
Right.
surplus and maintenance. So maybe you wanna go back to just one line, and then that would make it easier all the way around. But if you look at previous to that, it was always just one line and not two.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I mean, either way,
Cause
Yes.
one line you haven't used any money for, the other line, all the
All
money's
the
in.
money, right.
So that's where the difference comes in on that, if you look at the change.
Okay,
So when the caretakers buy something, say it's, if it's a $1,500 item, that's one thing, I go through this, but when you get to a certain dollar amount, say it needs to spend $500 on something, do they come to you first and say?
they're not allowed to spend any more than $100.
$100.
And I believe that was passed down from you guys,
Yeah,
that
it
was something that
was.
was instituted before
that
I.
was 2 years ago.
Yeah, so anytime they get stuff, as long as it's under, at 100 or under, they do it. If it's gonna be more, then yeah, they would say, hey, we need X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
So they go back 5 times.
Right. Well, that's what I was just saying, it's kinda like when you find the sale at Shaw's, and you wanna buy more than
Go
that,
back.
you go back. Okay, thank you. All right, so that takes care of the warrants. What about vendor contract?
Yeah, so yoga.
She.
We talked a little bit. I went to Todd to ask, what would happen if we absorbed her, and I guess from a liability and insurance standpoint, it doesn't make sense because it's just going to increase what we have to pay on our end. Whereas right now, she's got her own private liability insurance. So he
How much
suggested.
more though? How much?
I don't know the exact figure, but I don't think, if it wasn't that much more, I think he would have just been like, do whatever, but if, he's saying that it's gonna increase the town, it's certainly gonna be at least a couple $100.
I guess I think I'm just kind of sitting here thinking in terms of moving forward, like, when are we gonna get to a point where we offer recreational stuff here in a camp that should be recreational?
Well, take a vacation for starters.
Brian?
I don't want to set any crazy precedents here with anyone, but if we start going with yoga and we start paying for yoga's program, then it's gonna have to go out for bid. We're gonna have to have different yoga companies coming in here and selling themselves if we're gonna pay for it. Because it wouldn't be fair to just say, hey, Deb Boss, you come in, you're the only one, and we're gonna pay for your program.
Is that true, is that true? Because I thought it had to be over a certain amount.
Well,
It falls under good, best business sense, but I would always recommend a municipality go out for that very reason, because what's your best business sense? It's just so much easier to have it documented and just do
Horrible.
3 quotes for anything you wanna do. Because it's certainly easy enough to get a scope of work, send it out, and that way nobody can say, you just picked her because she's a
Right.
local. What about me?
Okay.
but then
So-
also, too, sorry not to
No.
interrupt, but it also too, it sounded like the town was saying that she needed to become an employee of the town
Right.
in order to do it. And if that's the case, then you wouldn't have to bid it out because you have an employee,
Working for the town, working here.
right.
But I think that's where it got shut down.
Right. Right.
So I was gonna suggest, just because I know that it always comes up with not getting enough, if we just maybe tweak the contract to a 75-25. So at least we're getting a little bit more, we're not doing a crazy increase, because I think to try to tell her that, you know, she's gonna pay us $15 an hour, I mean, on her end, it's gonna be a quick way to just have her go find another space. But I think at least, I think it's a win-win because we'll get to keep the program, she's gonna be giving us more money. And again, her program, it has started to creep up, so hopefully, again, a couple more participants, we're getting a little bit bigger of the pie. Again, it's not gonna make us rich, but at least we'll be breaking even, if not actually making a little bit of money. And
Is she gonna collect that?
I don't think so, because it's not that big of a, I think if we were to say, okay, it's gonna be 60-40 or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't wanna put her on.
No, but I think just doing that 5% sway, I think it's enough that, you know, we'll certainly see a little bit of an increase. I don't think it's gonna be too much of a decrease on her end, that it's gonna have too much of an effect. And I think it's kind of what everybody's looking for. She doesn't really wanna leave here. I don't think we really wanna see her leave. We obviously wanna be able to get a little bit more money out of the program. But that would be my proposal.
Can we do that, because we've always had an 80-20 precedent?
Correct, you have to change all the contracts, which we have to do anyways, but if we go over to $15 an hour, everyone who comes in would have to, like, I mean, drum kits was way over that, doesn't want to worry about them. But like, the drum thing they came in, which still made a loss, would it be 15 an hour or 80-20? I like the 15 an hour because it's, first of all, we don't follow our own procedures, we're not counting heads, I know we're not.
There's a form, and the caretaker sign it every time.
I can sign the form and, you know, keep walking through. I don't trust it. I would prefer a flat fee.
We required that form like last year.
Right.
Yeah, and there was a lot of times it wasn't used. We were told it wasn't used for a long time.
I mean, I can pull out the stacks and show you.
And if she's gonna carry over $5, I mean, you can't
Well,
go
that's
anywhere for
same
$15 an hour and run a business. It's just not gonna happen. I mean, if she can, then, you know, God bless her, but.
I think it's more, it's more so that keeping that program here. I mean,
Right,
it's
right. We
already
have to-
sad, is like, you know, we don't have rec in this place. I mean, I understand that it's, everything is very small, but we need to start building that foundation. I feel like, you know, moving forward, there's gotta be more activity here. And, you know, you have something like that. It's too bad we can't figure out a better way to encourage that, you know, as a camp. If you don't, make it good for business, then it's going to be hard to bring business in. You've got to be
I know.
business
Yes,
friendly.
right.
And I mean, there's so many barriers to doing business at this camp. I mean, moving forward, honestly, we need to figure out a way that this is business friendly. And I know it's only a couple bucks, but someone like that who's got a local draw, that's what we need.
And who's always been here.
We need
Yeah.
townspeople to come here. Sorry.
I was about to say, you know, what I mean, you have to think of what Deb has done for the camp in the
Loyalty.
sense of she's loyal. She doesn't complain when she gets kicked out of the library. You know, last minute changes happen all the time with her.
I know.
And, you know, I mean, if I was on a contract, I'd say, well, what the heck? I'm paying to be here, and now you're switching my contract last minute. And that does impact her business,
It does.
you know, and as you said, you have to change your policies and procedures tonight to make sure it was uniformed for all future contracts moving forward. And I would first talk to your contracts to make sure that they were on board with a 75-25 split, if we're just doing
It
it.
has to go across the board. It can't be per,
No, and again, that's a municipality thing.
That's-
But it's part of policies and procedures.
So now you're gonna have to go to.
You can't
oh, we gotta
have-
go to drama kids, we
Right,
gotta.
and say we want a bigger kick out of you because somebody wants to be over.
Right. It has
But we'd have to do that anyway, right? If we switched her to 15 an hour, we'd have to, anybody then coming in at that point,
Correct.
all has to go to that.
And right now, with something like drama kids, I think we make more than $15
Oh,
an
yeah.
hour. So it behooves us to stay at the
Say,
80-20.
yeah, especially if we get, and I don't know what it would be for, say, this, you know, dance lessons thing, but if, you know, they're charging a decent amount, we're getting 20%, you know.
Right. So,
So there's a potential we'll lose money on occasion, just, and we keep her. That's the
But
other.
if we could, yeah, if we can get enough
Right,
other
and I
Talking
think-
about $5.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean, but
And I think you have
That
to
would-
weigh the value
Yeah.
that's non-monetary.
Right.
For the social benefit alone, I mean, those,
Right.
there were probably, what, 8 townspeople that were here. They're
Very
taxpayers.
Right.
They were passionate about that. I mean, we're trying to say, guys, come use the camp, and then they're like, yeah, we love to do yoga there, and then now we're gonna take away the one program that brings us to this camp. We're not taking away, but make it difficult for this person to do it. I
This
mean,
person who's been very,
yeah, I just, I think moving forward, if
Loyal.
we can make that work for them and, do the right marketing and throw in 5, 10 more people for that particular program, I don't understand why the program itself isn't packed. You go to other towns, and I can tell you, there's like 25 people doing
well, because
yoga.
she said she's competing with the library that does it.
$5.
$5.
But there are plenty of people out there that will, and that crew that goes to the library is a specific crew. I go to a yoga studio, it's $16, and everybody pays it. It's a little bit harder to actually do it every week, but people do pay it. $16 is the running rate. But at the library, you have to understand, also the senior center is there, so it's a certain audience. Now, her creating her business to grow, that's on her, obviously.
Right,
But we
and that's what I think she needs to do.
Right, but for us, we need to also, it benefits us because those people coming to do yoga here, hopefully will have a cousin or a relative that needs to have a party and they're gonna rent this camp. Right? I mean, it's the
Let's
best business plan that you need people to come to this camp. They need to be here. It's the best form of marketing, best form of business that you can create.
Could it possibly be the hours that she offers the yoga?
Well, but she's all over the map, so she's got some days
Oh,
she's in the
she's got 2 in the
morning.
morning, but would it be more consistent, would she get a bigger crowd if she had the same hours all the
That's up
time?
to she.
Right, again, that's her,
business.
I don't even know.
If something's being missed.
I don't know if she has another job outside of teaching yoga. I don't know if she has kids that
Well,
need care.
yeah, I
I have
think-
no idea.
I think she does have some other locations where she does go and
Okay.
host yoga as well, so I think part of it's also just with her schedule, it's like that works into her schedule.
Right, and I would hate to see her cut this out of her schedule because we do want something here. So,
Well, our decision's not supposed to be made till March anyways. I'd like to do some background on where she goes, what she pays, who she's doing for free, and where she's not paying anything, if that's all. I don't just wanna jump in and say, okay, we're gonna do 75, 25. It's $15 an hour. And if she wants to jump ship for $15 an hour, she's a for-profit business. I'm sure we can find another business coming, and I
are
understand.
you really though?
I don't know about that. I don't know, Brian.
Business.
I know, but it's like, we're getting $15 an hour.
Right, and
For
we're providing
$15 an hour,
something.
you wanna jeopardize
Hold on.
our relationship with
I-
them.
A lot of times you only make $8, $6, $5.
I kind of feel like we're not losing it at this point because we're not in a position, I don't feel, to really take things away.
I'm not saying take it away, I mean.
To push it away,
I
to
mean,
not
does she
make
want me to
it.
pay $75 a week so she can do business here? That's not a lot of money to do business anyway. And some of her classes are an hour and a half, and you're not charging the additional anyways. You know what I mean? So there's some give take in there.
But even if we say that, so if it's $15 an hour, let's
5 days a week.
call it.
What are we getting now from her?
He's back around.
What is the average draw? Is it 8 people? Is it 10 people? Is it 5?
It honestly, it depends on the day. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's in the middle.
I'm sure it's weather dependent, I'm
Yeah.
sure
Or if
it's.
she gets kicked out to the pavilion.
Right,
Yeah.
there are a lot of variables.
But what I was gonna say was,
Thank you.
if we wanna take a really in-depth look at Deb's books of how she does business, like you're suggesting, Brian, you're gonna have to do that for everyone, and no company in their right mind is gonna say,
Let you
oh,
do it."
go ahead, look at my books, look at my numbers, because that's their business. And
And it's not our business, to be very honest with you, it's none of our business. How she runs her business is her business.
I made a suggestion, if Tom can do what I want to do, but I'll tell you, if it doesn't go to 15, I'll just vote against it.
right.
Everybody has it, again. everybody
Right,
has
we
it.
don't all have to
Right,
agree.
Right.
Right.
I think, Brian, I think we're just trying to figure out a way to like, and we all want more activity here. I think we're just trying to make it so that we have more activity. We're trying to figure out a way we can help this particular woman, especially knowing that she's got the backing of some townspeople that.
And that's fine, and I agree with the pavilion thing, yeah, she got stuck with the pavilion, but she's also had free beach rights for how many years? And there's been a lot of trade-off, it's not just she gets stuck here, she's benefited too. So it's been a handshake for a long time. I'd just like to make a little money off of what
Joan?
we're coming in.
I know I came across the paper that line showing how much money we lost through her. So I mean, you know, somewhere along the
It came
line,
through the paper what?
Lon did a paper last year, and she put out on there how much she made, how much it cost us and everything else. And it was the negative, it was like over $1,000 that we lost. I came across it, I don't know what I did with it, but I mean, we should look into that. You might be able to find the paperwork from Lon, but she did do the research on it. That's why the discussion came up last year when her
Okay.
contract was due. That we mentioned about the 80/20 or the $15, depending on which way, how many people she had coming in at that particular time, just to make the cut a little bit more, a
Okay,
little bit even.
what if we find that? I'm sure even Lon still knows where it is.
Yeah, maybe we can go through that. If not, I can
And then
go
maybe
to
we
Tina
can
and,
talk to her about this.
well, I can see what the quarterly reports have been.
Mhm.
I know the
Okay.
last quarter, I'd have to look, but it was a little over $600.
The reason why it came up last year with me was because of that report.
Right.
I mean, why, I get it, but we shouldn't be supplementing somebody else's business when they're for-profit business. That's not what we're here, yes, we're here to provide recreation, but that's fine, but
Well, I think right now, no, we shouldn't do that, but the point of it is that we don't have a choice, we don't have anything else,
it's always
so.
a choice.
Yeah, but it's not the
And that
choice
falls on
that.
our lap to make sure we reach out and shake hands to other businesses besides the business network.
And that's fine, you know, it'd
willing
be
to
great to
come.
have 3 or 4 yoga things going on here, bring it on, but the point is they're not coming, they're not here.
Are we asking? No, we're not.
We haven't marketed it either.
Correct, we've marketed
To be
nothing.
honest.
I think we have quite a few other things to market before we go to yoga. I'm just
No,
saying.
but I mean, a lot of the yoga instructors there, I mean, they all run in a circle, they all talk. So if we drive Deb out of here, it's not gonna be long before everybody knows what happened, then nobody's gonna wanna come. Or at least on the yoga side.
Because most of them won't pay 15 an hour to have a camp at your leisure. Bring the goats.
The board
Not on the
clears
floor.
it.
Not on these floors, please. Oh yeah, and one of the floors getting
This
done
is
again?
just outside.
I haven't talked to the guy, his name. Is it Brian Ayer that we used before?
For the floors, yes.
Yeah.
So we need to get those done. I'm assuming they need to be done.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Is he gonna do the
He
library
mentioned
floor
it.
again?
Can't
Because that's the
remember.
floor that he's,
I'm sorry?
the library floor was the floor that was in question a couple of years back with him.
He didn't do it.
He said it's getting real
Thin, right,
thin.
yeah,
And I think some of this out here is too.
yeah,
So we might have to talk to him.
yeah. We need to talk to him about the
Yeah.
library, the hallway, the foyer, the whole 9 yards.
Just we'll never find this.
Well, I know. My daughter's boyfriend
That's
is
too
in
bad.
flooring. He came down and said,
It's too bad too.
you'll never get it again.
Yeah, same with the
So-
office. One of Ed's guys was in here and, I mean, he said you can't even find this stuff.
I know. So I'd really like it if he just wouldn't sand down the wood too much.
Yeah.
You just
buff
buff
and
and wax.
polyurethane.
Right, I'd really rather that, buff and poly. I don't want him sanding. And if he, you know, and if we have to call different opinions, different people, different places, then so be it. Okay. So our decision on the vendor contract is we're gonna find the analysis that was already done. Discuss it
We'll
with
either
Deb.
try to look that up, or at least we'll pull as much turnover data as we can from our quarterly payments.
Okay, can we move on then?
Fine by me.
the bridal expo?
Yeah, so I've, sent out the final, like invoice and stuff to Kelly. I'm waiting to hear back. We were corresponding via email. I let her know we were sending some stuff out.
Since we haven't had email in 3 days.
Yeah, I haven't, even prior to, this is going back probably at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I haven't heard back from her. I will reach back out.
What are we waiting on from her?
We are waiting on, the security deposit and I believe cost of caretakers, or whatever the stipulation was. So the only thing she's submitted so far is the bar permit fee.
Can I ask, did we ever make a decision on, I know we have to, and perhaps I'm confused, but we had to get the Board of Selectmen to okay some kind of a special offering that day to,
Oh, at our
kind of-
table?
Right, weren't we supposed to do something like if you book in February of, our dead month?
It's
you get
already been
X, Y, Z.
approved.
Yeah, it's already been approved.
That's already gone
What's-
through
No.
the Board of Selectmen. Yes, it has.
Yeah.
We approved the bridal shower,
Bridal
The
expo.
fee
Right,
waiver thing
we
or whatever.
approved the fee waiver for the bridal shower.
Right, but we
But we
didn't
didn't
approve a rate.
approve the rates
rates.
for a
Promo.
special booking.
I think we need to have something like that, an incentive.
Maybe like $1,000 off or something?
Yes,
Is that what
I
you're
think
thinking?
we talk about 20% off, something like
I've been
huge to
saying
make
that.
people go.
What's
Yeah,
that?
January, February, we need things here in January and February, like have your winter wedding at Camp Kiwanee and get this crazy incentive to book.
The last discussion, was made, and I think Melissa had a little bit of an issue with it. Is somebody wanted to drop all the weddings during the winter down to $3,500 from $5,000. And there was a conversation going around, well, are we not renting just because it's winter? Or are we not renting because we're not marketing effectively enough to draw these people in? I think that's where we left.
Well, I mean, if you think about just the numbers alone, right? I mean, you want the best bang for your buck in this situation.
Absolutely.
So I think, is there another thing that we can use the hall for that makes $3,500? I don't think so. I mean, like this winter, for example, January, how many rentals did you have?
Maybe 2.
Well, that's what I mean.
But they were just like baby showers of bread.
Right, and
I
how
think-
much did that yield for the money?
I think
If there were 2
marketing,
events, it'd be $800 plus anything off the bar.
I think marketing is important, I do, but we are a rustic wedding. When I think rustic wedding, and I have, 3 daughters that are, getting married or are married, and I wouldn't think to have a winter wedding here. I just wouldn't.
It's too risky. I
It's
mean,
risky with the weather, it's risky, she's not gonna wanna walk from her dress, and take pictures outside.
But there are a lot of
and-
people that do second weddings. I have a friend who's having a second wedding.
Absolutely.
And they're still spending the money. They're having it at
Yeah, bully for
and hang
them,
them.
it's good.
But I think what I'm saying is that there is a market for that. There
But where are
is.
they having it?
They're having it in places like this, lodges like this, and they're taking advantage of the percentage off. If you're 40-something and you want
Right.
to still have that experience.
That makes sense, that's why I was thinking, I don't think it's a matter of marketing, I think it's, yes, we do need to market more effectively, however,
But if we give such a great deal, people will be like, maybe we should have our wedding
Think
this
twice
about
year.
right, they might consider it. So, and I think that that's important.
I know we talked about parties, anniversaries, all that, but then we talked about insurance and dropping the deposit rate, which is a big scare to everybody.
the deposit's huge,
I
because,
mean, we gotta get rid of that one way or another, outside of the weddings.
Deposits,
Yeah.
1%.
But
We voted on that.
Of what, for,
For birthdays and things like that.
yeah, it's not bad.
Spend 20%, so
So it's been 400, so it's $80 deposit.
well, I'm hearing, it's conflicting stories.
No, so
Open up your policies and procedures.
that's for birthday parties, but if you have like a.
no, it's a
one of
Saturday
those
wedding, that
shows-
still is 20%.
Saturday weddings, you gotta get.
$1,000 is 20%.
For
Yeah.
a wedding, but I'm talking
Or
about a
5,000.
straight party. What is the deposit for a party?
$1,000, I have to.
See?
write a check for $1,000.
20%, you should have never cut that check.
See, that's where it's
That's
scaring
in the
people
contract.
off. I mean, if you wanna rent the hall for $500, why do you need $1,000?
Right.
And then
You
you
don't-
talk
What's the
about,
security deposit you're talking
and then you
about?
talk
Yes,
about
security-
insurance, so.
The security deposit, not the deposit,
Yeah,
Right.
it's a
the
security.
security deposit.
That's in addition to Brian, so honestly, it becomes,
I have nothing on
becomes a
that.
hurdle, but I mean, even so, you yield like a couple $100.
It's in the contract though.
Should have been changed.
Actually, that's an addendum that was supposed to be added to it, and it never was.
But I
It was
don't-
approved.
Was it did get approved?
It was approved by, when they
By Board of
accepted the
Selectmen.
policies and procedures back in 2017,
Yep,
the 20% was on there, okay? But it was never added to the
The contract.
bid contract.
Our contracts are outdated.
And I meant, that's why I mentioned that this year the contracts need to be looked at because they don't agree with each other. Well, our policies and procedures don't agree with the contract. I know we wanted to raise the rates on one thing and the Board of Selectmen negative that
We did
part.
that, yeah.
But that was, but the.
but that didn't have to do with the,
That had nothing to do with the policies and procedures.
okay.
In policy procedures, I'm sorry, I
So-
don't have the exact thing, but I do have the wording, it's security
That's the
deposit.
thing we should push, is get that rental insurance and get this clarified, because that is a,
That's a
outside of the
huge-
weddings,
right.
I mean, I'm looking at myself.
So
trying
we
to
need
rent a hall
to,
for graduation, and I'm looking at this going, why do I wanna lay out all this money and go to a restaurant? You know,
right, so
Get a function.
can we get, some kind of new contract then that puts,
the biggest thing, you guys, is the insurance.
I know that,
Well, I know
but
we
we were
spoke of that.
talking to, we.
I think that's why the $1,000 was there.
But
Can't get away
I
from
know
No,
Bill
but-
brought up the rental insurance and
Right, we
Yeah, I
were
don't think
talking
they've
about,
heard back from Hannah.
they haven't heard back from the,
Because that's, they were asking that because that's who does the insurance for the
from the
town.
town,
yeah.
and we haven't heard back yet. Maybe we
yeah.
can push that with
So
John a
in
little
lieu
bit.
of a deposit, they had to get the rental insurance, is that what you're saying?
Well, we were hoping in order for us
Right.
to get rid of
Right,
The security.
the security deposit, we could
Right.
give people the option
yeah,
of having their own insurance policy.
right.
But if we may
There are
not,
facilities that require actually to have a.
Yes.
right, but we
policy,
may
yeah.
not need to do that if in 2017, and I know I was part of this then, but I certainly wasn't the chairperson then, I'm sorry?
I've written my phone.
What?
I can read it off, yeah.
Okay.
What the policy
But it
is.
just didn't, but it didn't
The
register.
policy is 20%.
Security deposit $1,000 required when renting a lodge and or entire camp.
Renting the lodge for a wedding
And
or
the
for a
entire
party?
camp. And then after that, it says 20% is required for other functions in this area.
That's ambiguous.
That's
Yeah,
totally-
It says function,
read it.
both places,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
both places say
Yeah.
function,
50%.
doesn't say wedding.
Right,
50% for the cottage, 50% for the confirmation of reserve gate.
Yeah, but that's just for their actual event cost.
Right, not the security deposit.
So that's something we need to update the language. And in doing that, we probably need to get legal involved because they're probably the ones that need to drop the new contract.
Legal has our new policies, right?
yep.
They have it.
And, but did we do anything with it,
No.
with that particular part?
With that particular line, no, but if they're reading line for line, I can't imagine I'm not grabbing it. If they don't, it comes back to us. Now we know it's a problem.
I can imagine them not grabbing it
We
though,
can
because
send
they
it
don't
back.
really know the
If we
place.
have a $500 deposit, security deposit for non-wedding functions. 1,000 for weddings, 500 for non-weddings.
But 500 is a lot when,
It's a lot.
when you're only paying 400 for the place.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Can we drop that like 200?
So why was I asked to make a
You
deposit
wanna
with
get
that?
something from it.
That's what I honestly,
It's like $1,000 that I.
Did you get it back?
Treasurer, I did get it. It was a treasurer's check that came out of our account, and
Right,
you know, like, I gotta tell you, that, you know, in terms of like the murder mystery that we're gonna hold, we wanted to hold it here so badly, but honestly, my Rotary Club was like, we have to dish out $1,500. Think about that as an overhead,
right.
you know? I mean, we get the 1,000 back, that's understandable, but you know, instead of, and I wanted to hold it here, believe me, but it was $450 for the hall.
Okay,
And then never mind the $1,000, so that
Okay.
was a huge, where it's $0 elsewhere.
so for our next meeting,
It's a security. Can
We can
I,
fill the gaps with these small events if we take care of that.
yeah, for our next meeting, we need to just go through the contract and that portion of the policies and procedures.
number 6, it says the security deposit of $1,000 is required when renting the lodge area or the entire camp for a function. A 20% security deposit is required for other functions in this area.
Right, but that's ambiguous
Right.
because it says functions and other functions. You're
Yeah.
not specifying the
That's right, it's a kind
functions.
of
And then other
Yeah.
functions.
It says other function, but it does specifically say,
It doesn't say-
renting the lodge area.
But you can rent the
And the
lodge for a
entire
birthday
camp.
party.
Yeah,
But you're not gonna do the entire camp,
We don't know what people are going to do.
not,
I don't know, I wouldn't
We
rent
need to be
anything without
specific.
language.
I will tell you now that if I got that paper from a student, I would say, needs more detail.
it's put on hold, that's all I got written.
Sorry, I would.
And the other thing too,
It's a 50% deposit. will be
people have the option to rent the pavilion, but that's in the camping application info. There's nothing in it, you know, when you're looking at the rates and information sheet that even mention that.
So we need,
So it needs to be updated, everything needs to be in one place, and we just need to specify.
this needs to be an entire meeting.
Yeah,
And we need to have a proposal of what you think makes sense, Bill. Okay?
Sure.
Between you and Dory and us, and I think everybody next time needs to bring what we think makes sense and come to some sort of consensus.
So back to that bridal expo though, what are we doing? So what, I kind of just got confused as to what are we gonna do in terms of entice those brides to have a wedding here? Is there, we said we got it approved, but we did not get it approved.
Yeah, it's approved, she's already advertising it. She's
No, I
got
mean, what I'm saying is, what do we?
What are-
Can we do a giveaway?
What sales what can we do to
Well, we can
incentivize?
actually put it on our website, because there's a show coming in on the Wedding Wire
No,
page.
But what are we allowed
Deal.
to
At our
do
table.
for a deal, at our
Deal.
You can do
table?
whatever you want,
No,
as long as you're not giving the place away.
We can't because we
No,
have to get Board of Selectmen
Yeah,
approval.
exactly, yeah,
So, the event's not till the 29th.
yeah,
We're already gonna be at the Board of Selectmen's meeting on the 25th, because we have to present the business plan. They're gonna be going over the surplus letters and all that. Why don't by our meeting on the 24th, we decide, okay, here's what we want the changes to be, or here's what we want that discount to be.
For that one event, and then we
Yeah.
still have a meeting and we talk
yeah,
about,
I don't think you have to give away anything regarding the facility, I mean, you wanna give away a fruit basket or something, fine. But I wouldn't give anything away.
I'm not
as
talking
far
about
as
giving it away, but making something.
Don't you think
in-
$5,000 is a bit
This,
pricey?
No,
no, it's
No,
not, no,
it's
right,
not.
we
And
already
then
went
you
over
have
this.
to add,
we've already
okay.
been.
We went over
Not
this,
for a
Because Matt brought
wedding,
up
not
one
for a
place
wedding.
was a $4,800 thing, but he neglected to see, you gotta use their in-house catering, which is a $17,000 minimum.
Alright, hold on.
So you can do anything you want here, your own caterer, as long as they have certificate of insurance. So that's it's not a lot of money.
Hold on.
Right, but
Yeah.
it was comparing a facility to a facility. But nonetheless,
Yeah.
I think you're right though, that if you went to the Board of Selectmen and say, hey, can we offer a 50% discount
For
for
this
any
one.
bookings for the next 8
8
months?
months. It's like-
For this one
For
event,
the, yeah, from 8 months
that's
out.
happening on the 29th.
Right.
Then we can adjust our policies and procedures and our, for consideration of the deposits and fees, you know, or
Why do you
whatever.
wanna give a discount?
To entice to get more business for the city.
Sure, come and do the
To get
show.
people to sign up.
50% discount off a rental?
No, that's way high.
No, that's
Like,
too
we're
much.
talking
No.
an incentive.
We were
like,
talking
something
like, you know,
10, 15,
10%,
20,
15,
I mean,
20,
20
right,
tops,
exactly.
like 20 is
No more than
huge.
20.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
if-
20 up.
That's
I don't know,
I'm sorry.
I would
So,
touch that.
so right now, if you have a bunch of pockets in the spring that could be potential weddings,
Right.
would you want $500 for a graduation or would you want $2,500 for a
I
wedding?
hear you, yeah.
We haven't.
But you gotta be careful with what if a bride shows up that day and all of a sudden she's already paid her $5,000.
That's what I was just
And
gonna
hey,
jump on.
what's this?
Well, because it was a promo. I mean, I go in to buy a car and my friend gets the car for, $500 less. I'm not gonna be upset. I bought it at a different time. I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
right.
upset. I'm gonna be upset, but it's legal. But that is legal. I mean, it's a promo that's.
It's illegal, but I think it's playing with fire.
I think we should specify the months that the discount would be good.
January, February.
I think if we did
Yeah.
January through April,
Off-season.
I think January
Off-season,
through April,
definitely do off-season.
I think January through April is reasonable.
$3,500 for a hall, it's your second wedding, target those brides. You know at that bridal expo, I was talking to the girl, And the mother goes, no, I'm getting married. And I was I was kind of embarrassed, because I was thinking it was the daughter, it was the mother that was getting married. So, and then it just got me thinking, the bride thing is so different. It's not just that, person. There are people that are getting married a second time, and they're looking for a nice place.
I would go November through, you do that November through April.
There you go.
Busy season is October, you've got a few stragglers going in November. Basically, your very busy season is from May to October for
Okay,
weddings.
okay.
Then Matt's idea would be great, because now you're booking during the winter,
Yeah.
$2,500.
Right, but I think what Juvie and I were kind of thinking was, for right now, from here on out to maybe May, let's just say, or June, is anyone coming in to book a wedding for
We
this
have
May?
available.
This May, oh, okay.
Yeah,
we
for
have,
this month.
but the thing is,
That's
nobody's gonna put a wedding together,
Yeah.
or not many people are gonna put a wedding together in 2 to 3 months.
You'd
Can
be
I,
surprised.
But
You'd be shocked.
If the
I'm
price is
going to a
right,
Well, the
wedding
guy yesterday, June
this
wedding is
weekend that's been
nothing.
put together in 4 weeks.
Yeah,
Not saying it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Those are your
there are some incentives
specialized
for that.
weddings. There are people
No,
that
it's
are
a
look for that.
second.
Oh, well, I'm
So
talking.
yeah, like if we
Wedding,
institute
yeah,
that, then
no.
yeah, if anybody books
Nobody cares anymore.
for April or May, they'll
And
get
like what he was saying, November through April, what a good, like a grand sale, that, I mean.
And then
that's
that way, I mean, we're really not gonna affect the people that have already booked, because nobody's really booked those months. So nobody's gonna be
Right.
pissed off.
It's like we're not
Or-
sending anybody off right now,
Right.
we're just trying to get them in the door. And
Yeah.
once it's a hook, then you can say, oh, by the way, it's a demand now, so now we can raise it up to $5,000.
Well,
But right now, we don't have anything.
the other
Right.
thing that Dory and I were talking about, because on there,
Mhm.
it's either 3,500 or it's $5,000, and it's whether or not you have the ceremony or you don't, and you have the reception. So for some people that get married in the church or whatever, they don't utilize the ceremony space, we don't have to set up the library. Even on a Saturday, they're still paying $5,000 whether or
Right,
not
we
they
need to
use that.
itemize.
I
Itemize.
think there needs to be, monetary value for that ceremony.
Right.
And if people don't do it, that gets backed out, and then there's gonna be, again, some,
That's why I want a
Decent offset.
proposal. I want you to tell me
A la carte.
Yeah,
so,
right.
what you think is reasonable.
I think with that too, I think if we bring down the weddings a little bit, we should increase the other
Definitely
events.
increase.
That's
the
what,
hall.
right, give me your,
Yeah.
So
Because,
$400, I think that,
Mhm.
because like we talked about, so there's a wedding and the bride and groom get married in a church, they come here for the reception. So for $5,000, they get 5 hours. But a family reunion or a party for 4 hours gets $400,
Right,
pays
it's-
400, or 220,
I will tell
$250
you
for an
though, there
extra
will be
hour.
backlash from
Oh, you look at that.
town
Yeah,
people who,
there's just such a discrepancy in the
to-
price
there
for
is a
what you
huge
get.
discrepancy.
Yeah,
There is, but the backlash is gonna come where people already think it's too expensive to rent the pavilion. It's too expensive to rent this for a family party for $400.
I think it's a deal.
I think it's
Great
a
deal.
great deal.
Yeah,
This
this location,
Yeah.
$400 and then 2 hours prior,
And if you're a town resident, you get 10% off that, so it's $360.
it's unbelievable.
But you, Brian, what Brian is saying is, look, you pay that extra, if I went to, my son's graduation is gonna be here, I love this place, obviously, but honestly, my husband was kinda like, why are we dishing out this extra money? We can go to, I'm gonna throw out a hall, the
Sons of Italy or whatever.
wherever, or
Rotary,
even if you went to a Emerald Hall, for example.
The one in
Sometimes
Abington, yeah.
Emerald Hall will decrease their hall rental because you're paying for the food. So in the long run, the bill for here, after you hire your caterer, which we are hiring a caterer, was like a couple $100 more. A couple $100, for a lot of people, that's a lot,
Yeah,
So
it is.
I think, and also that changes our mission. Our mission is to make sure that the townspeople have access to this. That's why we kept this camp. We want it to make money. It has to make money. It makes none right now. Right? So the balance, that's all. I'm just saying balance, and I understand the discrepancy, but you can't get away from that unless you change the mission. If we're talking about making money, then it should.
We have to keep in mind our demographic too.
Right, we can't then turn around and say, no, you have to pay $1,000 for this hall.
Right, I don't wanna charge people $1,000 for a graduation party, that's silly.
It's what it's worth, I mean, definitely, but just not going to be good for what
Can we bring our proposals to the next meeting then to discuss this? Brian, Joe?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't care, I mean, I always thought that it should only be charging the 20% for the showers and everything else like that, so, I mean, I don't know where the confusion is. It just was never added to the contracts the way it should have been.
Well, that needs to be cleared up.
I mean,
regardless.
you know, if we add, I had mentioned it when Juan was here, that we needed to add an addendum to the bottom of the contract to show that it should only be 20% for non-wedding
Wedding
functions. And, I mean,
So we
how
need to
hard was
change-
it to add that one line?
So we need to change it in the policies and procedures. We need to talk to,
I'll find out from, or at least
find out
have them
from
ask
John
them.
if we even need to talk to town council about changing the contract and adding some kind of an addendum like that
Yeah, but.
versus changing the entire
They
contract.
have it anyways, it's just line 6.
It's section 6.
That's what I mean, we may not need to bother town council with it and wait an exorbitant amount of time. I'm more concerned with the timing.
Yeah.
You need to fix the.
Way it's worded.
One thing, can we get this up, can we get this on the, Wedding Wire site? Now you just send a link, save the date, May 20th, and just send a link to Kelly's.
Does she have it posted?
Yeah, she's got it everywhere, yeah.
Can you,
I'll send it over,
yeah, can you email it to me and then we
Yeah,
can put it up?
well, then, by the time you get it next
Yeah.
week.
Well, I can get emails, just nobody can get mine apparently.
Okay, so, I'll send you all that
So I
info,
can,
yeah.
yeah, and I,
Yeah, they did
Yeah,
tell me
and if we
that.
can put it up on the, website too, would be nice.
yeah, we'll do
Yeah.
website, we'll Facebook,
And
if
Wedding
she's got
Wire.
a nice,
But
does
definitely
she,
get on Wedding Wire.
does she have Instagram? She must have Instagram.
Yeah, she's got on a bunch of stuff, but I'll just send you the main link. We
Okay.
even just, put the date of the show, then a link to whether you can get tickets to the show, click this, and you can go right to her sort of page there.
Matt?
With this kind of exposure
Yeah.
that's coming from Kelly, I think it's great. I would recommend maybe coming up with a special incentive of booking for the gaps this spring now, tonight, so that way it gets to the Board of Selectmen before March, so then you can advertise on Kelly's site or in her following, hey, come check out this beautiful place to get married at. You know, they're having a special incentive, and that might increase your attendance rate here to get, special pricing for the spring. And I would recommend doing it sooner than later, just in case the Board of
Right.
Selectmen have a question, and then they have to send it back to you. You know, I mean, just in case there's a little bit of back and
So
forth.
how soon can we get it to the BOS?
I believe we're meeting, hold on, give me 1 second. We're meeting on the 25th.
We're not talking about, we're talking about an incentive for the bridal show,
For our table.
for our table alone.
Right, but you're talking about discounting peak season?
We're talking, no,
off-season.
off-season.
Well, I was
For the
talking,
next 8 months, so for the dates that we currently have available, to fill in the slots where there are no other events, where no one is doing long-term planning now for the next 8 months anyway. So fill in what we've got, what we need.
Why are you doing the next 8 months? I thought it was supposed to be the off-season.
Yeah, November through March, or April.
Well, we
November.
do
But
want
I
to
also thought we
yeah.
said, we also want to fill in what we currently have available. If
During
you
the peak,
why not?
No, you wouldn't want to do anything this year. I mean,
Why not, if you were gonna book a wedding for this,
During the peak might be a little shaky.
but if you were
Well,
gonna book
have-
a wedding, if you're getting married and you wanna get married in July,
Yeah.
it's now February, you've already booked a place. If we have dates available,
I know, but then those brides are like, hey, I don't care about that person, they did last minute, I paid my dues, I planned
I
it.
think you're gonna have a huge.
Okay,
that might be
follow
a little
that.
Well, you can always tier it too. You could say, all right, if you're booking,
in the off-season.
if you're
give a
booking next
different-
April, your discount's 50%. If you're booking in May, your discount is 40. I mean, I'm just throwing out numbers, and it's up to you guys to decide whether or not it's appropriate. But if it's 40% in May, 30% in June,
So like a
20%.
Filene's basement type thing.
Right. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a little hairy,
Which
I
you
don't
don't
know,
remember.
I just think it might cause.
But you do.
I do.
Thank you.
Are we booked in the 2021 already?
We have a couple.
but yeah, during the peak, right?
Yes, we don't have anything that's booked
I mean,
in a weird,
I mean, if we did off, off-season now and off-season next year, we'd still be okay, right?
Yes.
Because you only have two, so you can
Yeah,
probably.
So you just
off-season
wanna do
and
off-season?
I would say November
Off-season.
2020 to like April 21.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right, let's
and
just
then the
keep it
following
safe.
November
Mhm.
to the following.
Just because you look at those
Yeah.
rides.
Well, I think if we throw it, if
We'll
we do
get
it now, we
some-
just
some
have it
reps.
in perpetuity and
And then
then we
we'd
can
still have
decide
a
right down the road.
Okay,
to
so what do you
stop.
wanna do for the Saturday rates and then the Friday and Sunday rates? Saturday rates for the off-season, right now it's 5 for peak, so off-peak,
So do we do a percentage?
We discount it. Should we do 20%?
Four.
So that would bring it down to 4 and then, right?
For a
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday?
No, just for Saturday.
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 So, so
20
5,000 would go to 4.
then it'd be
Saturday,
28 for a, 28 for a Saturday, for Friday or a Sunday.
What if you did 20% across the board, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, off-peak, it's a standard.
Yeah, just easy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
more, it's
that's what
still,
we're
it's more
saying.
expensive on a
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Right,
So
that's
we'll
what we're
do
saying,
Friday and
20%
Yeah,
across the board.
exactly, yeah, so 4,000 on a Saturday,
And then we'll
And-
2,800 on a Friday or Sunday.
Do we,
Oh, that's a great deal.
Right?
That's a
20%?
Deal. I mean, you're gonna get those
Yeah.
people, yeah, I think that's a great
Will
steal.
not be combined with Hanson's discount.
Discount.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to make it.
They go back in the shot.
Yeah.
That's a
You
steal.
do it.
Well, do they
You
get,
do your town,
Do
don't
do
you?
they get a discount, Hanson residents get a discount on weddings?
10%, yes.
10%.
Everything we can.
No, they cannot be combined, yeah.
Yeah, you,
I,
yeah.
Oh,
that
maybe if we
is-
put cannot be combined with other offers, then
We
that
should
would,
do,
yeah.
we should work with the vouchers too.
Or resident discounts, yeah.
Like a number of vouchers.
Yeah, like what we actually give away for people.
Mhm.
Yeah, put like a ticket thing on that.
Well, and would give us better information to track it.
Yeah.
Well, would it be, you know, they must redeem that ticket, you know, at the time of
That's what I'm
booking?
thinking, like how we're
Yeah, it
gonna
has an expiration
do like
date.
a coupon.
And John, on Wedding Wire, they must have demographics of these brides where they're gonna tell you the kind of brides. I mean, not every bride is similar, right? Like they have different, do they have that option where you can kind of target?
But people will look for it, I mean, they'll look for the facilities.
Okay,
Yeah,
So-
because it's just a bunch, they just
Yeah.
start going through facilities and,
just to keep things moving, when can we, get this to the Board of Selectmen, do you think? When are your next meeting?
Our next meeting's gonna be
well, the next meeting is tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
but-
tomorrow, but for the next time that this we'll be able to discuss will be the 25th of February.
Vote on
Okay,
it now.
for 2/25.
Yeah.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion that off-peak wedding rates from November 1st, we want to start the 15th.
November
You do-
1st.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
November 1st through April 30th, you discount 20% across the board. So the $5,000 Saturday rate will be $4,000, and the $3,500 Friday and Sunday rate will now become $2,800. And you cannot apply the 10% Hanson discount resident rate to these rates. Cannot apply that, so it's,
Or any other.
And this is
or any
for,
other
and
discount.
this is for the purpose of,
The purpose of increasing business, wedding business at the Needles Lodge.
and it will take place at the wedding show. This is.
Rustic wedding
This is at the
Rustic
Rustic
wedding show,
Wedding
yeah.
Show on March
Right.
29th.
I mean, you can just keep that policy in place too.
Do we wanna keep that policy in
I think we
place?
should.
I
Keep the
think
policy
so,
in place.
honestly.
I think we should
Okay.
at least give it a year.
Keep that policy in
Okay.
place.
See what happens.
That's what I want.
Events, and we'll keep that policy in place until the end of 2021. For now,
we
then
can
revisit it.
Pending
Yeah.
data analysis.
Pending data analysis.
Because honestly, if we even book one, oh my God, that's
Yeah.
100%, you know, increase. I think about that.
Okay,
So moved.
thank you, Brian.
So anyone second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Very well
Good,
said, guys.
thank you.
Okay,
2028 for
Okay.
off-peak, which is fine. We do off-peak rates for our services.
okay. All right. Okay. Should I-
And we'll cross the other bridge of,
Hold
oh,
on.
that's for the next meeting, right? We're talking about
Policies and
itemizing
procedures
and
with the
and the à la carte
contract.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
On, last meeting, we were discussing about graphic pictures for getting the pictures. How did you make out most of the system?
Oh, I haven't broach the subject yet, but I will.
Well, because we're
Because
discussing
cookies
that.
just came in. You haven't had the right bride.
You selling Girl Scout cookies?
What?
Girl
Yeah.
Scout cookies.
Okay, all right. So we need to get more pictures.
Okay.
Brochure, that's what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I
what I
have to ask.
gotta call Webster back tomorrow too.
Okay,
Um,
put it on your list
Yeah, no,
for a brochure.
yes.
Webster Pictures brochure. Okay, we did the tree warden meeting.
Yes.
Business plan is being presented.
February 25th, so I threw that on there, I updated the snippet, actually of what we were just talking about, so discounting in
Right.
non-peak times. So I put that under, under the pricing strategy.
And we're reviewing our policies and procedures. We will, so that we can, make the contract a little more.
Yeah.
There were a couple things, so when you present this business plan, it's not the final draft, right?
This right now is not,
Okay.
I mean, when we present it, will have to be
Wait a minute, when is that?
And the price
the
of
25th.
The
Oh,
25th of February.
Oh my gosh.
strategy is already involved.
No, God, no. Oh,
Julie,
oh, no.
relax.
No. Oh, God.
So-
It's
Okay.
not, it's not quite there yet.
We had a thought on, I think I had sent it to you, Diane, I wasn't here last time, but I wanted to see, can we share that with the rest of the board when do we meet again? We don't meet.
Well,
for
the
2 minutes.
business plan is on the agenda, so unless,
Okay,
is this
well-
not something you wanna bring up
No,
right now?
I do, I just, I know Matt and I were taking a look at it, there's a whole section on marketing that I wanted to cover in terms of the cove, I know we haven't even gotten to the cove yet, but just the business plan, there was a section on there about facilities that we thought, in terms of like the management and how we can communicate a little bit better with our facilities folks. We had, I don't know, Diana, if you took a look at that, we had a thought that we wanted to bring up just to have more accountability and more communication so that we're not sitting here and wondering. We
I
had
did
asked-
read that.
Yeah, we had asked, you have a head caretaker, right? Am I correct? We have a head caretaker. And it would be kind of nice to have weekly logs that are done by the head caretaker that are based off of, we call them shift reports, so that there is more of a detailed explanation,
Of
so that we
what's
can
going on.
all have it, so that Brian's not sitting here going, wait a minute, what was going on with that? Or, we were always, we're talking about getting our caretakers more involved and kind of connected. Half the time, it's just the communication, just not knowing it's happening. So we thought with Maddie's help, that if she could encourage each caretaker on their shift to do a quick shift report. We're not talking about like huge paragraphs, it's just, today, I spent 25 minutes.
Right,
getting
a
the logs
time
on.
in, a time out, how long it
Right.
took, what you did, and sign off on it.
Right, I noticed this, can somebody please, something like that, and then at the end, if Maddie can do that report, submit it to Bill, and then that can be something that Bill can share with us, so that if, we would know.
Right.
Well, just a comment, Maddie's employed here, but she hasn't worked in probably 2 months
Very
because
limited.
she's a teacher.
No, I understand, but I think the
Well, so I think-
conversation was we were gonna offer her, I think she was open to that, in fact, she had said that she was open to that.
Right, as sort of a, she would be paid.
Okay,
She's already-
is that something that
Only when
has
she
to,
works.
Yeah.
So this would include more hours for her.
do we have to update the wage and personnel, the job description?
She's
No.
not a caretaker.
She's the caretaker, she's already been the head caretaker.
No, but does it say the reporting aspect and stuff in there?
So she has to communicate with
There
you, so you
really
determine
hasn't been
that.
a job description out there for quite a while.
And I'm only saying this because if things aren't outlined, it's, you're telling somebody to do something, but it's not in their description, then it falls back on us for.
So you're saying you
That-
don't.
So I'm just saying, we have to just find out, does it have to go to wage and personnel to now say we're adding this piece to her?
No,
It doesn't? Okay.
Nope.
If Maddie wants to do it, I'm sure.
I think, so should we reach out to her and just ask her about that, or?
well, I think we already,
Well, I think it just comes down from the boss here. You know what I mean? Just saying, all right, we have to improve our communication. I would like everyone, whoever works a
I guess I didn't
shift,
even
just
know about this.
just fill out, I mean, well, this is something that,
No, we
Yeah.
just put it together.
Okay.
We
Put
were
it
gonna
together.
send it to you, we just weren't sure, and it wasn't here last week, and I didn't send it to you there.
Right, but
and then all it is basically a half a sheet of paper just saying, all right, what's your name, what time did you come in, what time did you punch out,
And what
what
did
did
you
you do, and is there
How long-
anything that should be noted? Like,
you
there's a
noted,
light bulb
right.
out in the fridge.
They
And
didn't even
then-
text it to her, and she puts it in a.
Well, we talked about, like, for the normal kid, because we have what they're doing on the weekly schedule. I mean, if this is this more for the morning guys, or is this?
No,
No.
this is really more
For
for like a
everyone.
report that we can have so that there's, that we are more engaged. Because we're not engaged right now, we have no idea what's going on.
But the thing about Maddie is she's primarily events, whereas Ed and company are primarily facilities. So we have to, we need to separate those two. So I mean, Ed could be the head caretaker, you're not here, he has a report, I say 7 to 11, this is what happened. And then the events, I mean, they're here at all different times, whereas the caretakers in the morning are here, what, 7 to 11,
7 to 9.
7 to 9?
In the office, I mean, they work, when it's peak season, they're working more.
So,
but-
so this list that you have here though, we have no idea, like, we don't have access to that.
Well, no, because it's Diane, and she gets copied on the schedule.
Right.
So I mean, if,
So the schedules there, are they reporting what's going on?
no,
That-
they're
okay.
reporting what needs to be done, and here's what you're gonna do. There's a weekly,
Is it completed though?
it's not it's a schedule
Oh.
with
it's a schedule
what
of
needs to be done.
tasks.
Of tasks, right.
So I think
It's
like.
not saying what was completed,
Okay.
or how long it took,
Right.
or any of that.
I think that's good
It's
data.
before the fact.
Right, that's good data to use to measure
The
moving
after the
forward.
fact part of it.
Right, we need the after the fact part of it.
Yeah,
is what
and I
you're
think,
saying.
and then that's what we're missing, because a lot of the conversations we have are, well, who was supposed to do that? Oh, I don't know, was that done? I don't know, we're not. And then these caretakers are going, I didn't hear about that. And then, simple things like locks, for example, right? Like, everybody should have the knowledge that's happening. If you have something tangible, it's there, and then if you have, accountability where, was that checked off? No, it wasn't. Then it moves on to the next list. It doesn't get, forgotten. It doesn't get, it's just a much more hands-on, I think, way for us to communicate where they're not at our meetings. So that we're not second guessing what they're doing. We know exactly what they're doing. And it's just, I think much more engaging now.
Okay, so you wanna put that into the business plan, is what you're
Yeah,
saying?
can you share it? Because I'm supposed to send it to you, right? Which I
Yeah.
did, and then you. supposed
I'm
to
sorry.
share. No, I just wasn't sure how to
Yep.
do the protocol. I wasn't gonna, so.
I'm sure as long as nobody responds. Right?
I can share it as long as
Diane,
nobody
yeah,
Nobody
responds.
can respond.
Just,
I'll have to find it.
okay, yeah, I just didn't want to do the wrong thing and be like, oh my gosh. So it was just a proposal on the management side, just to kind of do the facilities thing a little bit more. And then that way we can be just a little bit more clear, even as
Okay, but as far as the business plan is concerned, I get the sense that you're concerned about presenting on the 25th.
I think it needs so much work. I mean, it's an unbelievable amount of work that
It is an unbelievable amount of work,
It's missing so many components.
Brian?
Why are we locked into this date, 25th? Who locked us in? Ourselves?
I did, because we were supposed to present it months ago, and then we pushed it off, and
You have to
The
push
Board
it
of Selectmen's
forward.
been asking for
Policies
it.
and procedures have been pushed off for months too, because it's
Right.
on legal counsel.
we'll just say, is,
If you need more time, push it a month. You gotta do what you gotta do, I mean, to make it right the first time. That's just fine.
As a selectman, how do you feel about that, Matt?
I wouldn't want something incomplete coming before me, especially if you guys haven't reviewed it. Because I'll be asking questions of like, oh, why did you guys do X, Y, Z? And I don't want you to be there going,
And
wait
it is a
a
lot of
second.
work, and we are volunteers.
No, but it is a lot.
No,
of
I
work.
understand. So
Okay.
like, even like tonight, we just kind of hit a big breakthrough with that, with the whole
With the
wedding
wed-
thing.
right.
That's a huge marketing thing. That's just a new system that we put in place tonight, and it's not on this business plan. And it should be
I
on this business plan.
just put this one, I didn't send it out to everybody, but
Oh, it's in.
I did add it in, because Diane had talked about it at the last meeting. So I just put it in again, under the
Plan.
pricing.
So it should show up as well as marketing, and it should also, one of our executive summaries is to increase weddings by, I think, XYZ number. And honestly, if we book something, even one or two in that off-season, we've already met our goal. So it's only good for us. The business plan is supposed to be something that is like a report card. you know, a year from now, we have dates associated with that.
Right,
A
it's
year
like,
from now,
are the goals measurable?
right,
All
I
of
mean,
that, yeah,
right?
yeah, I know.
So, I mean, I just think that there's a huge section on the marketing plan for each of the things that we have not even touched upon. We have no idea how much camping is gonna go on this summer. We don't, that plan should be in place now. We don't have that plan. So we have to increase camping rentals, we have to increase, you know, the usage of program, I mean, we don't
Right.
have those elements.
And I would like to just say, and I'm gonna call on you, Jim, just a
Those are
second.
the- I just wanna add
to-
something to something.
To increase camping and everything, we really do need to, we have nothing to draw people here. I was just saying to John, today, that the school I'm working in, we're bringing 500 kids to Camp Borndale in Plymouth for a week. You know, 2 sections, 2.5 days, 2.5 days. Kids are paying $200 a pop,
Why aren't you coming here?
because there's nothing here.
There's a pond.
Yeah, but you have to have a system in place.
There's nothing here and there's
Camp
no
Wondale
staff.
also, they
There's no,
cater, they have everything on site.
they cook the meals.
Structure.
They have activities, they have ropes courses, they have things to do. We do not.
That's not gonna happen overnight, though. You've gotta do little pieces of that.
Caretakers.
You have to do
We are
We need to have staff.
understood. And again, and as I said to John earlier today, to get this place fully up and running and functioning the way you do, that we want, you have to spend money to make money. And the town does not have it right now,
So we work
Like
with
we
what we
want.
have. So this business plan
for
is
many years.
focus on one weekend this summer. If you have one weekend this summer where you have that draw, where it looks like a camp for one weekend, or you hook up with a local Boy Scout or a local
The
school,
family camping.
1 week, that's it, just one.
I understand
You
that.
know, and then that's in your business plan, and then a year from now, we go, that worked really well. Now you have a structure, now you know, so then you can repeat it. And that's where we're at with the business
Right.
plan. The business plan shouldn't just be a piece of paper that says it looks great, and then we don't look back on it.
But it has to be stuff we can reasonably put into place and put into
Absolutely.
action.
We have to
Okay,
check it off and say
hold
that
on.
worked out.
Hold on.
Okay, no, you're fine on what you're doing, but just going back to the money part, it's supposed to be, I just happened to see this piece of paper that I had added into my policy, my business plan, that bereavement is no charge for them. If the place is available, we don't charge anything for security
bereavement.
deposit for bereavement.
Okay,
Okay,
good to
We
know.
don't charge security deposit, or we don't charge at all?
we don't charge security
Security.
deposit, and it's, I think, $300 for 3 hours.
Right, and it's in the library, I
Yeah,
think,
it's
yeah, it's the library. Okay, Brian,
To go to your thought about that other camp, and you may have to pick Wes Boss's brain on this. I'm sure it was way up when I was in school. Hanson Schools back, in the 70s and 80s. We were here for a week. This
doing
camp-
what?
This camp didn't change. What they had is the teachers ran it. The school came down for one whole week, the teachers ran it.
Nature.
They had nature walks, they had story time, they had fishing, they had canoes, we had volleyball. The teachers ran the whole thing for a week.
Okay,
How that was paid for, I don't know, I'm just saying, it was done.
It's
for-
called Nature's Classroom.
It was done
right,
for
and
many,
it's a
many
wonderful
years.
thing. Let me tell you now, that since the 70s and 80s,
Right, I know.
education has significantly changed. And I don't know about your union, but my union's not letting me come down here to sleep for a week with kids and not be paid for 24/7. You know?
I don't think it was free, again, I can't.
Yeah, it
Brian-
wasn't, but I can guarantee you the money didn't go to
What
the
you're
teachers
saying
here.
though is those are the kinds of things we have to be looking for, to do in this camp. The how to do it is the thing that's a challenge.
Well, that's where
Right.
you touch up the people.
I want it
You
done, I
charge
mean,
the kids to
there-
come anyway.
there are times when we're negotiating a contract that we can't do this if we're at odds. And there were some years when we couldn't go because the union wouldn't even let us go and stay overnight, and even if we want to. So, you're right, we have to get teachers to do it, we have to get people
I'm just saying,
or
it might be
somebody-
something to, because again, it was a field trip is what
I
we were
understand.
written
No,
as.
I-
And
that's
I know
what-
times have changed, but I'm just saying, maybe you can pick some of the brains of the older teachers that
Well, I mean, I can just go down to Camp Wandale and pick those brains too. I mean, what do you have here that's draw and they have everything?
This,
We
again,
don't.
we didn't.
Are they a privately owned
require
camp or are they a town-owned camp?
Camp Wandale, I think is privately owned.
Privately owned, there you go.
Right.
But again, we just did basic stuff, we fished, we did the basics, you know, you played cards, you fished, you had, you know, your buddies, there's camp stories, it was, again, this is a little before you, but
We're having a tough
Again.
time to get the kids to deal with the fact that there's no Wi-Fi.
well, maybe that's.
For 2.5 days. I'm
That's
just,
crucial.
no, I'm telling you now that that is
But you know, but if you have an
huge issue.
engaging, when we went to Boy Scout camp, I
Yeah.
gotta tell you, I thought I was going to like watch paint dry. It was actually really quite fun.
It is fun
It's
when they
tough, though,
get
that They
there.
told us to go to bed at 9 p.m. at night, and they did not have a local bar, honestly. But it was engaging. These kids, when they were done, they put the tablets away. They had people, they had structure. So there was canoe races, there was like this hike thing that they did, there was this.
There's the night hike, there's the, when you go out and you try to make the sparks in your mouth and I
They
would
had
mince and all of
skits,
that
all
stuff.
those things, but
Yeah.
you know, I think let's start off with something very, very small this summer. If you can even get an overnight, a weekend
Right.
camp out
I
here.
agree with you.
One weekend camp out,
We possibly have a college orientation that's gonna be in July.
perfect, that sort of
Wonderful.
stuff, like that.
Okay, Matt, did you want to say something?
Oh, I just was gonna say, to bring back the business plan and when to present it, I'd present it before, town meeting in May, right? May?
Yeah.
May
May.
6th.
So I'd present it sometime before then, just so you can justify what you're gonna be asking for from the town this year.
And we don't even know if we're asking for anything else. We haven't,
That's what we have.
and what we have, because we know the situation in the town, and I really don't want to keep going to the same well. And on that note, CPC, I'm meeting Wednesday, and they like an update on the screens, and are we done? No. Where, how far along are we?
We still got most of the ones in the north to do.
All right.
I know you were gonna speak to the CPC about language. Is that gonna be on the agenda?
About what?
Language and new cabins and
Versus
Yes.
ability to use that money
Yeah.
outside of screen.
Right, I'm gonna ask them about that.
Because I think it was it Nathan?
Tom.
He said that, I remember watching a meeting, I was at the meeting, and he said that a lot of the, it started off one way and then they kind of changed the wording, kind of part of the way through. So
Right.
we need the updated wording that we don't have.
But again, there is money there, but we need to finish one thing before we go back to that well.
Oh, we definitely need to
Well, we still got
Staple.
money in our,
staple the facilities
Okay.
guys' boots to the cabins until they finish the screens, while it's still nice out before the, you know, snowfall, March, April, and May.
So, I mean, there is progress though, like, you know, a couple a week or anything, or are they?
Well, we had them do the locks and hasps, because that was obviously to precedent. Right now, I mean, Jack just had rotator cuff surgery, so he's doing some stuff, but he's limited.
Okay.
I mean, they're chipping away at things as they can.
What are they chipping away at? I guess would be my question.
Well, most of it, again, the little paper, they did the benches, the ceremony benches, they did the locks and hasps, and they've started in on the lodgement.
Shift report, see? If I was
Right.
in a shift
But then
report,
again-
you wouldn't be asking those questions, right? But that's where we're at.
But outside of Jack, who's limited, can we use Ed and Bill? I know Bill could be a second pair of hands.
Bill, he's limited because he's got back issues. Now, screens, he could probably do some stuff, but again, I also don't want him getting hurt because he's a big proponent of everything that goes on here.
Okay. All right, so these are all things we need to,
why are they just working 7 to 9? They could be putting in screens from 9 to 11. I mean, that's my question, is, I mean, they're not.
and they're punching in and out.
Yeah, and when I came in, I was told their hours, for the most part, was 7 to 9. And they're part-time guys, and in the off-season, they work 7 to 9. In season, they're here
7 to 11.
7 to 11, sometimes later,
Unless it rains.
unless it rains.
They have
And
a
don't-
tremendous amount of flexibility, and that's something we
That's-
need,
We need
to-
to curtail.
we need to consider. And maybe that's a discussion.
Yeah, and I think that was why we were thinking in terms of
The shift report.
the shift report. It would be, I know they do, the work here, and we definitely need a lot of work here, and it's not fair that they get limited hours. It's not fair that there's not an actual
They can
facilities
have
person.
more hours if they want.
Right.
But that's something that
But they
I
have to stay
think.
under 20 because they're part-time, and if
Right.
they go over,
But are they using the summer hours to offset the winter hours?
they're working close to 20 hours in the summer. I mean, they're putting in the time, there's more to do, there's longer, the days
More
longer. they
days,
can-
right, more daylight.
You have
They can
20
be
hours.
outside more.
You have 20 hours now that can be put in screens. So
I mean,
why
if
you
they're
give
working
2
10
hours?
now, could they work another 5 to 10 since they're in the off-season? Because now is the time to finish this stuff before we get to peak season. I mean, can they work another, if they're working 10 hours a week now, can we get them for another few hours? Just to get that, just to finish that. I'm just talking, finish the north end and just see if they can work 20 hours, provided the weather's good. I mean, just to get this done. And then when we get to the summer, they won't have that to do, they can go off and do other things.
Well, I mean, they're gonna certainly have it done before the summer, but
Okay. Yes,
I'm not sure exactly what's entailed with installing the screens or whatever it may be, but maybe something that we should consider is a volunteer day of installing screens, painting, whatever it is. The weather slowly, knock on wood, is slowly warming up, or the weather's been pretty consistent where on the weekend, if the commission can get together, get a couple volunteers, and, get it done. I think that might be a really good idea, have your caretakers, if they're willing to do it, come in on the weekend, show it what needs to be done. That might be something, that's what they used to do up here in the fall when they were closing down the camp, was volunteer day. Volunteer day in the spring, volunteer day in the fall.
The only problem is, we ask for volunteers, we have the volunteers here anymore. Things have changed a lot.
Yep.
We
Well,
know,
that's part of our problem.
right. And it
That's
has
something-
been, and that's.
That's something that we have to work on, is
right.
getting the
Oh,
community back.
absolutely.
well, we have to do that by having events here.
How about
Okay.
the vocational piece? So Show Voc.
Too many people lean on those guys. My son goes there, and the amount of requests that they get, there is so much need. It's very difficult for those guys. And then the other thing too is the teachers have to line up, their curriculum. So if it doesn't quite fit their curriculum, it's very hard to take them
Has to
out
meet
of
the
the
standards.
classroom. Yeah, so like he's an electrical guy, and they booked his electrical crew 6 months previous to, so the teachers were already thinking about it. And they have to turn away so many people and so many worthy causes. But if it's not booked in advance, you don't put the ticket in, they just can't do that. So that's why.
So do we need to reach out to the high school too and say there are volunteer opportunities for the kids that need hours?
I think you have to
And
reach out to
churches.
specific people who do this sort of thing, like Green Hanson, for example. They have a good set of volunteers. They have dedicated, probably a dozen people. They are doing a movie night here. Those guys do every single year. They manage to get 40 people to clean the town. Those are the people you want to get to. So those are the people that are going to show up, and they're going to bring their friends and family. They're interested in helping this camp. I think so far we have a good relationship with them.
there is a Whitman Hanson cleanup day, so we got an email from somebody with Whitman Hanson High
In
School.
April, right?
But no, it's May,
Okay.
May 9th. So,
Usually you're.
so I mean, we could certainly, and it doesn't have to be the screens office, but we could have a pretty good slew of volunteers just to even come
If
down
they would
and do
include
something.
us.
Don't you
Well,
want
they
people
reach
that
out
know
to
what
us
they're doing,
specifically.
put the screens in? Why do we want
But
volunteers?
you have caretakers, and you have caretakers there that can guide it. I mean.
I would feel,
Nah.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe not for the screen stuff, but we can have
But
them
for other
do, like
things.
breaking and mowing and,
Yeah, that's
Picking up,
Well, we
Yeah.
usually have like cleanup day, but we always seem to put it on the same day as Green Hanson has theirs, so you need to find out from Green Hanson when they're having their cleanup day.
we either need to make it far enough away from theirs or be included in theirs.
well, we, have the Whitman Hanson kids come in, and then we have cleanup day, but hopefully most of it's done, and then we don't need as many.
Maybe reach out to Clean Hanson and find out. what-
Okay, yeah, we're going off on a tangent.
Okay,
So
yep,
that's it.
sorry, let's go. Okay, director, lodge hours.
6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Sounds good, approved.
Are we all set?
Be done in 3 days, I won't be interested, it's beautiful.
Are we all set?
Is that voted? Is
What
that?
is the,
So here's, it was never voted, so you guys have to vote my hours. You don't get to stipulate my comp time, but you can say if it's gonna be 8 to 4, 9 to 5.
How many hours a week?
It's, right now, my offer letter said 40, I'm looking into it because the only other department heads that work 40 hours are the chief of police, fire chief, and the town administrator,
everybody else works 36?
35.
35,
They only work half a day on Fridays.
okay.
Yeah, they work an extended day on Tuesday though, to make up for it.
But it's still 35 hours.
But yeah, it's still 35, I'm still 5 hours more than
I mean,
that.
it's 35 hours.
Yeah,
No
it's
matter which
still-
way you slice it up, it's 35.
Yep.
So,
So for now, go based on the 40, because I don't know whether or not, I mean, where I got the offer through Mike and all that, I don't know that there's any recourse on that, so I might be stuck at the 40. But in his letter, he said that it would be decided between the commission and he, my hours. And obviously, the week after I came in, he was
he's
no
gone.
longer here.
Well, John will fill that in. So, Dory, you're here from 9 to 2, correct?
Correct,
Mondays and Fridays?
right.
And some Saturdays, is that the way yours?
Yeah, I actually have 2 tours this coming Saturday, and I did 3 tours a couple Saturdays ago. So it works out nice.
How'd they go?
Excellent, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, some weddings.
You also do rehearsals too, right, on Thursdays?
I haven't done any yet.
I know, I mean, when we have them.
When busy season arrives, you will.
But yeah, I like that, the difference of it.
So if you've got
It's
9
fun, you know,
to 2,
Saturday
and
tour.
you spent, how long were you here on Saturday that you did 3 tours?
3 hours.
So did you leave early on another day?
I could leave early on a Friday, so I just put in the hours and then leave early if, on a Friday if it makes sense.
Right.
To make up for the Saturday that, so it all works out.
Okay, so what are we thinking?
I can put forth a motion if people want to vote on it, they can, if they want to change it, they can, but it's just an idea again. The same one I had the last few meetings was on the nights that, he has a really long day, which is 9 o'clock in the morning until.
9 o'clock at night.
9 o'clock at night.
Keep going.
I would say the next day or Wednesday or whatever works between these two, they can figure it out, that Bill would come in late during the day. That way we can still go with what the town hall says we're open, which is 9 to 5. Because if she's here at 9, you don't really need people in the very next morning at 9. And you can go back to your 9 to 5 schedule Monday through Friday. And if there's something, if there's an event, Halloween, something like that, then obviously we're working out another day off.
Okay, I'm wondering if maybe we should be more consistent with town hall though.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody gets to leave on a Friday, I
On a
don't know,
Friday
on a
there-
Friday half day, then Bill should be able to, right, isn't he?
I don't know, I'd like some opinion.
We're not connected to town hall. We've been through this with the payroll thing and time clocks and everything else. We're separate from town hall. This is a business. People need to be there to run a business. If
But
you
it's
shut
still,
down-
it's so tied.
He's still a town
They're town-
employee.
They're
And
tied
also-
to our businesses.
And again, you guys can set the hours. I said though, my comp time's gonna be my comp time. So if I have the choice of either coming in late on a Tuesday or leaving early on a Friday,
You're leaving early on
I'm leaving
Friday.
early on a Friday.
Right.
Makes better sense to
And
me.
especially in season, it's not gonna matter anyway, because there's brides in this
Brides,
office at
weddings
that point in time.
Right.
There's brides here all weekend. From
Right.
here until whenever.
Right out, yeah.
I am not,
So would Friday for you make the best sense?
I mean,
to
because
have
we
that
can
as a
always
half
change
day?
our operating hours on the website, can't we?
yeah, I mean, the only place that stays 9 to 5 right now is on the town website, because I didn't know how to change that. Everything else is 9 to 2.
Who has the authority to change that, by the way?
We now have the ability to log in, so I can go in and change it.
Put in 9 to 5 because Teresa Coach, the town good at the time and said you were way outside your realm of department. I know what their full conversation was. I would talk to town administrator about it.
I did.
If,
This is what he said.
Well,
He
not
said you
just
guys
you,
vote
I-
on it, and,
and then what?
He said, we vote on it, we don't have a right to tell you your comp time.
yeah, he said you guys can set my hours, and then the comp time is the comp time. I just,
You
guys-
have a choice of when to take it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
So-
take it on a Monday, because
Right.
all day is Monday.
Right. So what I would like to do then is if we don't have any authority to tell him when to take his comp time, and he has publicly stated here that if he has the choice of leaving early, coming in late on a Monday, or leaving early on Friday, he's going to
To the
leave on
Friday.
Friday, which is consistent with the rest of the town.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
normal, I mean, I don't,
So,
it's not so much of a hassle.
if you're doing 35 hours,
Well, 40.
40,
Uh-huh.
sorry, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, until that changes, or
Yeah.
until it doesn't, whatever.
Yeah,
Then I think I would rather be consistent with the town. I just wanna I wanted us to state what our hours are, and I want somebody to be here.
If you're doing 9 to 5, that's 40 hours granted, but are you taking lunch?
yes.
Okay, so are you here at 8:30, or are you here at 8 o'clock and taking an hour lunch? I mean,
Well, I don't even take it, it's like, sometimes it's 20 minutes, because usually I'm going to Mike's. So I go down there, I have 2 slices of pizza, and I'm back here, and
9 to 5,
And you
8
wanted
hours,
that
you get
heart
it
attack
off
by
of.
the time you're 40.
The 9 to 5 is 8 hours, but it doesn't include an hour off. It's 9 to
Take
6
the
if you
hour
work.
Yes.
Well, how many hours do you pull on a Monday?
Down to 7 hours.
Hold on.
How many hours do you
Because
pull on
this,
a Monday?
we need to wrap this. Okay, go.
So, I mean, personally, what my recommendation would be is say to Billy, you're here, you know what the traffic flow is like here, and, you know the camp best, you know when you're getting most of your phone calls. Are you getting them at 5 o'clock on a Friday? Probably
Probably
not.
not.
You know what I mean? And if Billy thinks that Fridays, he wants Fridays off, then let him use his comp time on Fridays and put it on the town hall website, because the whole point of this conversation is we're upset that people are calling and no one's here, and it's not consistent with our
Right,
hours.
so I just wanted to be consistent.
Right.
And I don't think people care as long as the information they're getting matches what's going on here.
you don't want to walk up to the door and it's closed.
Right, so that's all I'm saying.
And if it's-
And I know that we are technically a business, but I have issues with that anyway. We're a business that has to operate under the rules and regulations of a municipality. Okay, just want the camera to get that. And then it flies in the face of sense to me, but, so I just want, I think it makes sense to go with the town hours.
So you want to shut the place down after noon,
That is at 2.
Friday?
What's wrong with 2?
Town hall's
well, the,
Town halls,
but the town hall, so
Town
Monday,
hall's
town hall is 8 to 5, Tuesday 8 to 8, Wednesday 8 to 5, Thursday 8 to 5, Friday 8 to noon. But certainly, if we wanted to make 9 to 2 on Friday here, and that's what it is. Because one of us is certainly gonna be here 9 to 2 on Friday.
one of you, right?
So what are your other hours, 8 to 5?
We could do that, we could do,
I mean, you'll be, what are you here now, 9 to 5?
I'm here 9 to 5.
I mean, it'd be better if you were here with the caretakers were here, even if they were as an hour. Because we got people who are working and they have no supervision,
Well, they have the.
even if it's an hour. I know they have a list, but you know, sometimes
7 to 4,
when the
is that
boss
what
is
you're asking?
around, things
We
kind of.
could start at 8.
Is that when they work? Okay.
If you wanna change it to 8, you can do that too.
8 to 4?
8 to 5 is an 8 hour, is
what the
an 8
directors
hour
decide.
workday.
Or 8 to 4:30 with a half hour for lunch, does that work?
I mean,
I mean, if you're
Yeah.
taking a half
Billy,
hour
what
for
works
lunch.
for you?
let's just we'll go 8 to 5. That'll be,
That's an 8
yeah,
hour
36
day.
hours by Thursday.
Yeah.
Be out by 1 o'clock on Friday.
9 to 1 Friday?
Well, the
Or
office
8
will
to
still be
6.
open 9 to 2, but,
Yeah.
Because
you
Dory
know,
will
based
be
on,
here.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm in 8 to 5.
Okay, so Dory, if you're putting in for hours that, when you do a tour or something, are you leaving early on another time?
Yeah, on a Friday.
on a
I
Friday?
had been, yeah, left it
And,
noon.
and we'll figure that out.
We'll figure that
Yeah.
out between us, yeah.
As long as someone's here till 2, and as long as the hours are the hours are the hours, I don't care if a monkey's running this place at this point. As long as someone's here, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
someone here during the hours.
During the stated hours, as long as they match up.
Correct. And
Okay,
So 8 to 5.
8 to 5, Monday through Thursday, and then
9 to 1,
2.
9 to 2. Oh, on the
That's
website,
on
gotcha, 9 to
Friday.
2, 9 to 2.
9 to 2 on Friday.
Got it.
And all the websites can be changed to
Then what
that.
do you do on the comp side?
That's my concern.
What do you do? Do
You'll have
you leave
to-
earlier on Friday?
So yeah, the
As
comp
long as
time,
someone's
the comp time, yeah, may just be that I don't end up coming in on a Friday, depending on how many hours I'm looking at. Barring that somebody's here, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay?
Do we make a motion?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
So, would somebody like to make a motion that the official stated hours on the website and bill schedule will read Monday through Friday, 8 to 5,
No.
no, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, and Friday, 9 to 2. With comp time being applied to the Fridays.
Well, it won't always necessarily be applied
Right,
differently.
okay.
You're putting down 9 to 2, so anytime after 2 o'clock, no one's gonna be expected to be here at the camp, because you
Right.
got what you put for Friday.
Yeah.
So you're covered in that respect, from 2 to 5. Okay, so I mean, as long as you've got the middle of the week, and, I mean, a lot of times people will call on Saturdays, but hey, they'll leave a message.
And this
No,
is
we're still-
subject to you speaking to whom about whether it's 40 or 35?
I know Mary's in tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get clear, because I tried to talk to John today, and one, he was too busy, and the second thing was like, he's like, I have no idea. So he's like, it's been a question for Mary.
Okay.
It does say 35 to 40 hours, so I don't know what.
Yeah, my description,
We
but
just
in my
have to-
offer letter from
We need to look at the
From
offer letter
Mike,
and the
it
contract.
says 40 hours.
We need to look at
Okay,
the
so
offer
then
letter.
that's what you have to go by, is the
Yeah.
40 hours, so
Okay,
that's what you
So,
have to work
want me to
a
make a
week.
motion?
Please make a motion.
I'm going to make a motion that we have Bill's hours changed to Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, and Fridays, 9 to 2, and, you know, pending when he would like to take his comp hours as for some Fridays, given that there is somebody here.
But you're posting 9 to 5 on
9 to 2.
9 to 2 on Fridays on the
Fridays,
website.
but throughout the week.
Everything else will be 8 to 5.
8 to
8
5.
to 5, or are you posting 9 to 5?
8 to
No,
5.
8 to 5.
So you're gonna have to change those 2 pages, that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Second. Thank you.
But the town is 9 to 5, right?
no.
8 to 5.
they're
No,
at
the town is
time.
8 to 5.
Guys, we need to
I
wrap this up.
second the motion.
I think Melissa already did. I think we have to go
Oh, she
aye.
did, okay.
We all want to go aye.
All those in favor? Thank you.
You opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain.
One abstention. Okay? Are we good?
That's it? Okay.
We
Would
almost
someone
did it.
like to
I
make a
motion
motion?
No, bite your
Adjourn.
tongue, bite your tongue, bite your tongue.
Bite your tongue, why?
My motion to
Bite
adjourn.
your tongue?
What are you
Next
talking
meeting's
about?
the 24th.
24th.
No, there were a couple of things quick things that weren't addressed. 10 o'clock, everybody's punching in now.
I already did ask that.
I just wanna make sure. I
Yeah?
didn't hear it, so.
Yeah, they said.
And
Yeah,
And
he said yes.
everyone, okay, fantastic. Any luck with getting all the hideaway department involved? Gravel.
I'm still waiting, I talked to Dave, and he doesn't think it's coming in.
Okay. That's it, that was easy.
Okay,
I motion to adjourn. Get a second.
Second.
all those in favor?
All right.
See you on the 24th. Oh, my Lord.